We'll do it live.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back. Woo! Welcome back.
Before we get started in this, you know this thing right here? I gotta say, welcome home to my main man.
Isn't it about time for somebody's favorite radio program? Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Welcome to the Tony Bruno Show. Beautiful. On the all-new TonyBrunoShow.com.
Rental discretion is advised. You know what they say?
The man chosen to save American radio from its horrible future.
Now, here he is.
Oh, yeah!
It's like family. It's like being
family.
at the Olive Garden. Yeah.
You guys are just like family.
That's the fact.
He didn't invent radio. He just perfected it.
I'm innocent.
What's the name of that place? Big Packers.
I want full cavity searches. Everyone, go deep on it.
The godfather of sports radio.
It is a final.
Here is...
Got a big one in there?
Tony Bruno. Tony Bruno.
Yes, children, you've come to the right place. Your escape from reality, politics, and all the other nonsense that's taking up way too much of our times on this beautiful Wednesday. What Up Wednesday? It is the Tony Bruno Show Live podcast. We've gathered around the radio with the breaking news right out of the gate that Joe Corrado will not be on the podcast tonight. Why? Do we know?
He's stuck down the shore.
Oh, no.
Is he at Mac and Manco's Pizza?
I hope not. That thing sucks.
Macco and Manco or Mac and Mac. Here's the interesting thing. Mac and Mac Pizza, which is famous on the boardwalk, is a cash-only business, as you know.
Well, obviously.
The owner is going to be going to prison at the end of the season I'm not making this up.
Well, it's a cash business, exactly.
Because he basically was convicted of stealing money and not reporting it to the IRS. So what is he going to do? They're going to give him the whole summer to make more money in a cash business before he goes to jail. Wouldn't you think one of the punishments would be you have to not use cash? How about using credit cards or taking ATM or credit cards or EBT? Wouldn't you think that the IRS, who likes to punish people, would say, okay, listen, we're cutting you some slack. You open a new place. It's a big joint in Ocean City, New Jersey. How about this? You can go in and do the summer thing and charge people $28 for an $11 pizza, but you can't do cash only, sucker. Cash only got you in trouble, which is why you are going to prison. Just a simple deduction here as we open up the program. Right? I mean, doesn't that make sense to you?
It kind of does,
the
yeah.
IRS.
I know.
Don't they garnish wages when you don't pay anything?
Yes.
But they didn't garnish this guy's wages because he had cash under a mattress somewhere, under the boardwalk in Ocean City. I believe it was under the Music Pier, for those who understand the New Jersey Shore.
Is that Maury's or?
No, that's Wildwood.
Okay, sorry.
Well, let's get your Jersey Shore stuff straight now.
I don't go down there.
It's Tony Bruno. Miss Robin's here. Luigi's here wearing his rompim.
I'm not the
romper. Romp him.
Romp him.
I'm in my Nike tank, dude. It's hot out, Tony.
Let me be the first man who's man enough to man up and say, I will wear a romp him this summer.
Well, you know, you are in good company. One of the most famous rompum wearing people
is James Bond, Sean Connery.
007.
Remember Sean Connery? I think it was Thunderball. Was it the movie Thunderball?
You should have stayed back there too, Tony.
And now there's this new thing that they always try to force on us to wear, and most of the fads I don't get involved in, other than growing the beard on a gray beard thing.
It's a grown man wearing a onesie in summertime.
Yes, but the difference between the romper, I didn't even kiss her. The women, it's a onesie basically.
That's what I just said.
But women don't like it because they have to take the whole thing off to pee. We don't.
Correct. And I mean, in that particular case, men have a complete
but
leg
see,
up
to show
on
you
it.
that men are more regarded than women, unfortunately, and it has nothing to do with me because I didn't make this thing. But in the rompim, which is the men's version of the romper, they have a zipper so a guy doesn't have to take the whole thing off to pee.
Which is totally unfair.
It is unfair. Where's the feminists standing up for this? Where are the marches on Washington, on Chicago, and all these other cities? So we'll discuss the rompim tonight.
Yes.
Would you wear a rompim, Luigi? You're a manly man.
Hell no.
Why not?
Because it looks ridiculous.
You're wearing a stinking tank top.
Can I wear a tank top? But I have a pair of pants on,
I want
Tony.
to show this. So here's the rompim. Everybody can see this now on your screen.
I wear. You know, I don't even care.
This is James Bond wearing the famous blue rompim.
Because I'm going to go out there and I'm going to say, I'm wearing a romper. And they're going to say, why? I'm going to say, because James Bond wore a romper. And they're going to say, but you're not James Bond. You're an asshole. That's what they're going to say. That's what they're going to say.
And you know me, I hate hipster stuff. I'm not a guy.
This is hipster level expert is what this is, Tony.
But I'll wear it just to show people that I'm a man. And I'm over 40.
I'll tell you
Please don't.
I'll tell you
I
what.
mean,
you get a romper, I'll romp with you.
We should romp.
You have seen these, right, Luigi?
Yeah, I've seen. I'll romp with you.
It's the big story now in the world of fashion. If you watch all these, like Robin watches that stupid Say Yes to the Dress show.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Well,
I've seen.
I want to hurt myself. By the way, as you are watching this on Facebook Live, Twitter, Periscope, and YouTube Live, we are living up to our promise from a week ago. What did I say last week on the podcast? We would have rotating meat on the show tonight. I don't mean we'd bring in different men and different women every 15 minutes. We have actual Showtime rotisserie grill live meat action.
Correct. And the live meat cam is up
and
running.
Is that in the meat locker?
Oh, it smells so good in here, though.
It does.
It does. I mean, okay. So we all have to admit something right now. Every single one of us did not think it was going to work this well, correct?
Nope. What do you mean every single one of us?
Not me.
Of course I did.
Nope. Did you have complete faith that it was going to do as well as it did?
Yes, that's why Ron Paul Peel said, set it and forget it.
I mean, seriously, like from the second we turned it on, you could start smelling the meat cooking.
It smells so good.
It looks amazing
now.
now.
People can, if you're watching us on live on Facebook and all the other places that you watch the show, if you're listening to it, obviously you won't be able to see the meat turn. But now Robin has a camera just on it, right? And that's live in our kitchen.
Yep.
here in South Philadelphia, USA. Live meat turning. How far into the process are we? I don't mean the draft process. That's like 5 years in running.
We'll touch on that in a little bit.
Yes, exactly.
We're about an hour in.
An hour in. So according to the Ron Popeil guidelines, and we have a nice, is it a bottom? Is it a top roast or a bottom roast?
I think this is a top round. I think this is bottom round. We like a round bottom, but I don't think this is bottom round. It's top.
Are you a top or bottom, by the way?
I'm a top, bro.
Just checking.
I'm a top, man.
Are you really?
Yes.
Do you understand what I'm talking about?
Am I no fuckus too? I mean,
I hate to do it to you, man. I hate to do it to you this early into the show.
I am a top.
Just a top? I mean, don't you like to switch it up a little bit, you know?
Plus,
you can't do true cowgirl if you're, you know.
No, but tops and bottoms are not usually associated with heterosexual sex. If I have to explain that to you.
That's why I said I'm a top, not a bottom, Tone. If I was gonna.
So when you're with a man, you're the top.
I'm not with a man, Tony.
Well, that's why when you gave the answer, I wanted to make sure we got the record straight.
The record straight.
Okay.
So in other words, you're neither.
We'll ask that question when we're wearing rompers. All right, that's what we'll do, Tony.
Luigi, I do believe that according to Tony's rules, the answer would have been neither.
Exactly. Not my rules. It's usually when you ask that question, people understand what it means.
I don't think, to me, I've never, even though it is mostly associated with a homosexual sexual lifestyle.
Which I'm not opposed to or criticizing.
Have never thought of it that way because I believe that in a heterosexual or a bisexual or an all-sexual, whatever lifestyle, you can be top, bottom, side, back,
That's the way I roll. That's the way I roll.
You can be a little bit of everything.
Anyway, so we won't talk about that tonight unless you want to call and talk about it. But also coming up on the show tonight, something I promised also last week that I would get on. One of our favorites, the greatness that is Rico Brogna, ladies and gentlemen. Put your hands together. Rico Brogna will be on the program tonight. How great is Rico Brogna? Remember last week we were talking about Aaron Altair of the Phillies last week when he was on a tear when people were still paying attention to the Phillies.
Yeah, we don't even have them on. Usually we have them on in the background.
No, when people don't pay attention. I don't think they're on this. They're playing in Texas. Or at least they're showing up in Texas to get slaughtered once again by the Texas Rangers, who are missing their best player and their best pitcher.
Cole Hamels.
Exactly. I don't know if he's their best pitcher, but he's been out for a while. But the point is, Aaron Altair did something that very few Phillies did last week. He had 3 games where he hit 3 home runs in 3 consecutive games. Mike Schmidt was the last Philly to do that in 1991. That's 1981, I think. Was that the year, or was it 91? Anyway, Mike Schmidt was the last Philly to hit 3 consecutive home runs in 3 consecutive games. And then the other part of it is that Altair, who's the left fielder for the Phillies, drove in 3 runs in 3 consecutive games. So 3 or more RBIs in 3 consecutive games. The last person to do that was Rico Brogna in 1998, which a lot of people were surprised to hear because, you know, the Phillies have had a lot of great players. They won a World Series. They were in another one. 98 Phillies weren't a great team. And so you don't think of, you know, it's got to be a Mike Schmidt. It's got to be a Chase Utley or a Jimmy Rollins or a Ryan Howard, the last guy who had 3 RBIs in 3 consecutive games. It doesn't sound like a major feat, but when you consider 3 RBIs in 3 consecutive games, you know, home run hitters gets 1 home run. That's 3 RBIs. Hits a 3-run homer. You know, that doesn't seem that hard to do. But for the Phillies to go almost 20 years, well, 98 to 08, no, almost 20 years. Well, almost 19 years it's been since the Philly has had 3 games where he's had 3 or more RBIs in 3 consecutive games. 1998 is like 19 years ago, right?
Well, no.
98.
If you say Schmidt did it, when did Schmidt do it?
No, Schmidt hit 3 home runs.
Oh, 3 home. I'm sorry, Tony.
There's a difference. 3 home runs in 3 consecutive games. 3 RBIs in 3 consecutive games. A totally different thing. You don't have to hit 3 home runs to get 3 RBIs. You get a bases loaded single, you know, a double with 2 men on, whatever the case may be. So Rico Brogna was the answer. I said, we should get Rico on the show. He used to call into my night show, and Robin and I were in California, and he's always been a fun guy and a great guy, so we'll have Rico on the show tonight.
He's awesome.
We'll talk about what's going on in his life. We'll talk about his career.
He's
amazing. We'll talk about what happens, what this guy has gone through in his life, not just as an athlete, but as a human being.
Exactly.
What he had to face with a spinal arthritic situation, which caused the Mets to get rid of him and trade him to the Phillies because they didn't think he was physically capable of playing baseball, which he was close to not being able to do. Came to Philly for a couple of years, had 24 home runs one season, which was his best season ever, even though he was a first-round draft pick of the Detroit Tigers. The guy overcame spinal arthritis. And then later on, at the end of his career, he became a coach and had to deal with testicular cancer. So, I mean, this guy's been through a lot and still has an unbelievable upbeat attitude. So he'll join the show. We'll talk about, and you know what he's doing right now? He's a scout for the Los Angeles, California, Anaheim, Disneyland adjacent Angels. So he goes out to minor league games and watches the young kids play. He's in Virginia, and we'll talk to him from Virginia about Rico Brogna, and we'll talk about the Angels and the guy that we really want. If the Phillies are ever going to be good again or really a contender again, they need that one superstar.
And according to Rico Brogna, we have no chance in hell of getting him whatsoever.
Now, we did say that we were going to try. We didn't promise this one last week, but we did say we were also going to try to get Ron Popeil on.
We have a Ron Popeil update, though?
And
Let's go to the update desk now and give you the very latest on the man who we call King of Gadgetry.
Now,
right? I mean, the guy invented everything.
So he actually was very excited about coming on the show. We talked to his people. Stacy is one of his producers, PR people, and she said that I sent her the clip of what we were talking about. He really wanted to be able to, but he was already booked for tonight.
Okay.
So he apologizes, and he says that he is looking forward to the follow-up on how we did. And so far, I gotta say, Ron, when you're listening to this, I am so amazed. I cannot believe that it took us this long to have a Ronco rotisserie grill.
Well, we mentioned
smell this cooking.
We have mentioned this for the Showtime rotisserie grill forever on the show. You know, the whole set it and forget it thing.
I mean, okay, so I actually already explained this to the Ronco people. I don't know who started it. At some point or another, some fan, and then it kind of caught on, started talking about the Tony Bruno show being the set it and forget it show.
Exactly.
And
forget it.
That's all you have to do.
That's all you have to do when you listen to the podcast.
And so that's why
you set
it started.
It and forget it.
So you set it on the station, you listen to it, and you forget about all the other things that are going on.
Well, you're not hearing this on a radio station.
No,
you're hearing this on...
so you're setting, but you're forgetting about TV shows. You just set it and forget it.
Exactly.
So that's and it became sort of this inside joke, and...
lo and behold... We get our hands on a Showtime rotisserie, which are still available, I guess, right?
Yes.
I got an email from a listener out in California.
I want one.
You want one? Are they still available?
I want one.
They are available.
How much are those things? Because we
Now-
got it rolling.
4 easy payments of $39.95.
No, I don't know what they are anymore.
Now, Ron Popeil has sold the Ronco company.
Exactly.
He is still affiliated with them as an occasional spokesperson, but he actually sold it. So so the Ronco machines and everything that are associated with Ronco are sold by Ronco Corporation.
Did he sell them to the Russians? I hope he didn't sell them to the Russians.
I hope not.
But if you go on to, I think it's Ronco.com. If you go onto the company website, you can purchase everything right on there.
Beautiful. And without Ron Popeil, I mean, somebody else would have invented stuff because there's a lot of inventions, but all the as seen on TV sections in your stores. By the way, Rob, you need to turn the air conditioner back on. It's like an oven in here. It's the first hot day.
Okay, hang on.
We got an oven going. We got the Showtime rotisserie grill, and we don't have the air conditioning on. It's like 100. I'm going to have to put my onesie on for the rest of the show.
Get your romper on, man.
I don't have a romper yet. But if someone wants to send me a romper,
I'll wear a romper.
I will wear it on the show. I will promote it. So if there's a romper company out there, not Romper Room, which used to be a show when I watched as a kid. Remember Romper Room, Robin? They were in every city, and there was always some Miss Somebody. Not Miss Robin, but, you know, there'd be Miss Somebody, and there'd be a kiddie show where she'd sit around with a bunch of little kids. It wasn't a cartoon.
There was always like a Miss Julie or a
Yes.
Miss Heidi. Or
Yes, and she'd sit around with... Yeah, and she'd sit around, and all the little kids would try to look up her dress, and we would try to look up her dress at home, too.
And then she would look through
and her home address.
And was it a magic mirror or something?
I don't
that she
remember.
Would look?
We gotta do a
No,
Romper
remember.
Room
There's
update.
a magic mirror that she would look, and she goes, I see Jimmy, and I see Luigi, and I see Robin.
You don't see me?
And Tony.
I know my beard is getting awfully white on him.
You look at translucent over there.
I don't remember. What was it? Every city had its own
Romper
Miss
Room.
whatever.
Exactly. Anyway, if you want to call in, 717-363-TONY is the number, 717-363-8669, open lines, a lot of stuff to get to tonight.
Hour 1 would be the best hour to get into because in hour 2 we'll be playing the Rico Brogna interview. It's a little lengthy.
Yeah, we talked to Rico a little earlier because he has a game that he's scouting tonight. So I've been talking to him all week about getting him on, but he's down in Salem, Virginia, right near Roanoke, and he's been scouting single-A baseball.
And I got to interrupt real quick. Marcette Dunham on Facebook, longtime fan, says, do not do the romper for the love of God, no.
Why? Who's it going to hurt?
I think I pull off a romper.
I can pull off a romper. I can put one on, too. I'd rather pull a romper off a woman, but whatever you need to do.
I'll go romp.
Oh, good Lord. I can't even.
By the way, I have breaking news about Mike Trout. No, the Phillies haven't traded the entire 76ers draft for Mike Trout. We'll ask Rico Brogna about Mike Trout. Obviously, he scouts for the Angels. He knows Mike Trout, and we asked him about Mike Trout's a Philly area guy, South Jersey.
Sure.
People here would love to see him here. He's a big Philly fan. He follows the Eagles. He came to a couple of Eagles games, hung out with Carson Wentz.
Oh, yeah.
So Mike Trout.
Everyone in Philadelphia was whacking off that.
You know what Mike Trout's OPS is right now? And I know you love those stats.
Oh, we love OPS on this program, Tony. What is it?
1.200. No other Angel on the entire roster in Anaheim is over .735.
It's incredible.
Albert Pujols has a negative WAR and is still owed $114 million.
And Pujols always asks the question, what is it good for? You know what I mean? So that's why he can care less about WAR.
Absolutely nothing, yeah. And this isn't a knock at Albert Pujols. I mean,
no,
the guy
he's
was
a great player. He's going to Hall of Fame. It's just, listen, injuries, Tony, and time.
Absolutely.
More than anything.
But that's how great Mike Trout is. It's not a knock on Pujols. Pujols is still a very, really good player. But Trout is like next level. We talk about Bryce Harper. We'll get into Bryce Harper versus Mike Trout with Rico Brogna. Guy who played baseball. He's seen them both, obviously. Obviously, he's got to love Bryce Harper, whether you like the guy or not, because Phillies fans don't like him because he always beats the hell out of him. But he's a guy you'd love to have on your. There's no team in baseball that wouldn't want to have Bryce Harper. I don't care what he does in the outfield. Who cares? Do you care whether the guy does things that rub you the wrong way?
No.
Jason, he wins. Well, he doesn't win any World Series, and if they don't get a closer in Washington, he's not going to win one this year either.
Well, at least one they won't want to choke him out.
Exactly right. So anyway, we'll talk to Rico Brogna about that.
By the way, we have a little bit of housekeeping really, really quick.
What do we make? Was he make another mess in the kitchen?
No, nothing at all. I wasn't even in the kitchen, Tony.
Tonight's show is brought to you by Ting.
Every little Ting going to be all right.
Some of you might have been hearing us talk about Ting over the last couple days.
Well, we gave out some of these Ting cards.
Yes.
Last year.
I didn't get anything.
So let me tell you how this
works. You didn't get one of these Tings?
I didn't get anything.
Any Ting? What's the matter with you? T-I-N.
That's what I said.
You guys have all been probably hearing about us complaining about the high cost
of cell
phone service. I mean, for 2 phones, we were, paying $200 or something crazy? Or no, sorry, it was 3 phones because we had your mother's phone still on there. But she wasn't using it.
But it was like $180 a month.
It's crazy.
And it wasn't even, and then there's always overages.
Right.
So we were out of contract. Verizon, their phones are great and their service was great, but I got to start cutting back. Times are tough. I don't have health insurance. I have a phone bill that's almost $200 a month. So Robin did exhaustive research. We looked at all the other companies. Sprint wanted us back. Everybody wants you back now, except Michael Jackson.
No.
And the fantastic Brian Martell, who is our local tech guru geek, he was the one that told us about Ting. I know. And he kept telling us about Ting. Nobody's heard about it. Well,
Have you heard about Ting?
I haven't heard anything about it.
Other than the show where we mentioned it.
So Ting uses several different mobile tower services. They are a reseller, but they allow you to pay only what you need, and it is so much less expensive. I mean,
and all you do is you replace the card here, the SIM card.
You can purchase special Ting phones that are set up, but in our case, we were out of contract. We'd had them more than 2 years on the Verizon, so our phones, which were the Samsung Galaxy Note 4 and your Galaxy S5, they were Verizon phones. They were unlocked at this point, so we were able to use our phones that we weren't paying for anymore because they were out of service, and we were able to switch them over by just putting in a new
You slam that
SIM
baby
card.
in there. You set it. Well, you don't forget it because you have to do some
And
adjustments
get
with the
this.
stuff.
So we're going from approximately $180 a month to probably about $60.
Max.
How amazing is that?
That's right. Even Oprah says, and you get a ting, and you get a ting.
So this show tonight is brought to you by Ting. If you would like to
And by the
talk
way,
to
you know how
us-
much the Ting card? You only pay for the Ting card,
Right.
so you're not buying. You have to if you could check to see whether your phone is compatible
with
Right.
So
Go
if
to
you're out of
Ting.com.
stuff, if you don't want, if you're in a contract, you don't cancel your contract because then they jack you for all those
Right.
fees and stuff. But if your contract's running out like ours did, and you're looking around, and again, I'm not knocking Verizon. Their service is great. There's a million cell phone companies out there. There's all these small ones at $30 a month.
We've been using Ting now for what? Going on a week and a half. Service has been fantastic.
Yeah, no drops and calls.
No drops. It was a little bit because of the fact that we are not using Ting phones. There was a little bit of stuff that we had to do to enter, but their customer service is amazing. Like one guy was on the phone with me for 45 minutes until I got it figured
Anybody's
out.
on the phone with Robin for 45 minutes. So that's
Well, that's just because they want to talk to me. But these SIM cards are normally what, $9 or
they're like
something like that.
$9.
And
And then you pay for the service, and it keeps track. The key is not to go out and use data, because then your charges will go up. But if you're just using it for phone, text, and
Wi-Fi is free.
Wi-Fi, like you're in your house and you're using your phone, use your Wi-Fi so you're not using data or you're not doing stuff that's going to rack up your bills.
So we have several of these Ting cards that normally cost $9. If you are, if you would like one, please contact us, and I would be happy to.
Now, how do they
provide you.
contact us, Robin?
Just contact me via my email, missrobinaustin@gmail.com. That's MISSROBINAUSTIN, like Texas, @gmail.com.
There you have it.
And I
Because
will provide
we're
one.
we're like everybody else. You want to lower your bills, you have a chance to. Why wouldn't you? You try something, and if it doesn't work, you get rid of it. You don't have to sign a contract. You're not locked in for 2 years.
That's the other nice thing. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and then you just go back to whatever you sign. A contract with somebody else. But I'm telling you,
I was ready to go get a flip phone and go
straight burner.
Go straight burner again.
But
Seriously.
But unfortunately, those services, those flip phones, are like the other types, the prepaid. Their service actually sucks. This service is great. This service uses the same towers as the Verizons and the T-Mobiles.
I'm ready to go off the grid completely.
I know.
Me too. I'm going to do that. I'm going to be like Jason Bourne and disappear for 10 years and go fight guys in Beirut for money.
Thomas
done with it.
Rogers
I'm done with
in Phoenix. Contact me, Thomas. I will hook you up.
Every little ting.
I'm going old school. You want to get a hold of me? You come knock for me.
Damn right.
Knock on my door. That's it, man.
I'm the one who knocks, by the way.
Yeah, you are the one.
Well, that's from Heisenberg.
Now, shall we go back to the?
Yeah, check on the cam, man. See how we're doing.
Let's see. How's it doing? Okay, there we go.
I can't see it on my computer.
Yeah, I can't see it either. I can smell it, though. The smell is phenomenal. We should have
Bask
the
in the
next thing we
ambiance.
have
Actually,
to
I
put
think
on the podcast.
I think it's about ready, Tony,
it?
because it's looking
is a little-
really dark on
Now,
one
this
side.
roast that we bought yesterday at Acme, Lancaster brand meat, which is good stuff, it's got a little pop-up little nipple on it. So when the nipple gets firm, like when you pinch it, it gets
So
firm.
it's like a turkey timer comes
No,
up?
like a brand new pencil eraser on a brand new number 8 pencil
okay.
in school.
Uh-huh.
Were they number 2s? Remember when you get a brand new
Yeah,
pencil?
number 2
Yes.
pencil. That's what you had to use to take a test. You had to use standard number 2.
And the erasers. And we always thought, when you talk about a woman and, arousing her, when you say, I got her like a number 2 pencil eraser, man.
I've
Just
heard
think of
that.
it.
I've never heard that before.
What's the matter with you, man?
I've never heard
Now,
that.
but
hate
if
to
your
do it to
nipples
you,
are a
but-
little bit,
I've never equated a woman's
I got
nipple
that
with a
nipple
number
harder
if
2.
your
than a
nipples are a little
brand
bit
new
bigger.
eraser on a number 2 pencil, brah.
Now, see, I think that
Bow,
most
whatever you want
nipples
to call
are.
it.
Most nipples, though, are like when you're sewing a thimble. I think most nipples are a little bit more like a thimble
Yeah.
than a number
No,
2
but
eraser.
they become erect, don't
Yeah,
they?
I know, but they're
stay
they're
erect.
they're bigger than a number 2. Like a man's nipple, when he becomes aroused, is more like a number 2 eraser.
I don't know. I got little nipples, man.
Let me try to arouse mine and see how big they get on the show tonight. I think we're going to talk about touching ourselves later on with Rico Brogna, too, when
Absolutely.
he joins us in the show. But anyway, let's get down to the business. The NBA draft lottery. Did you watch last night, Luigi?
Absolutely.
You did?
I'm gonna go check on the beast.
Check on the beep while we talk about the NBA draft lottery. other part. That's not coming from you?
No, it just started playing out of nowhere.
It's on your board there, isn't it? Because I have those things too.
At like an extreme volume here for no reason.
Dude, I'll play it from here. Let me play this one here. You got me on?
I got you.
I don't hear it. The NBA, ladies and gentlemen. So they have a draft lottery party. A bunch of guys who run radio stations who do podcasts that nobody listens to. They go down to the Xfinity Live thing, and they stand around. And I know I have one thing good that happened at the draft lottery party last night here in Philadelphia. One man actually got laid. I can confirm now my sources at the Washington Post, the New York Times, CNN, and ABC, NBC News, MSNBC, reporting that there is a guarantee that at least one man and one woman had sex after last night's NBA draft lottery party here in Philadelphia.
Yes, and he is the strongest man on the planet because he had to fight off about 9,000 men with one woman.
And you know who that man was?
I have no clue.
A guy who proposed to his girlfriend at the NBA draft lottery. And 10 years from now, he will disavow ever having been there once he's married and has a kid or two. And then has to explain to his kids, you did what, Dad? You got down on one knee around a couple of hundred strappers sitting around hoping that the Lakers don't move up to number 2 so that you could get the number 3, hoping that the stupid Sacramento Kings.
I was standing around doing it.
And Vlade Divac smoking 2 cartons of Camels a couple of years ago when he got fleeced by Sam Hinkie for an absolutely ridiculous trade, which allowed the Sixers to move up from number 5 to number 3 in the draft.
Thank you, Hinkie.
And Sam Hinkie, they raised a banner to Sam Hinkie.
They should.
They went out into the streets. Guys were touching themselves. Grown men.
In rompers.
And it's all. And here's the best part of the draft lottery.
What do you got?
The Boston Celtics, a team that's playing the Cleveland Cavaliers in the NBA Eastern Conference Finals, will have the first pick in the NBA draft. While teams like the Dallas Mavericks, whose owner Mark Cuban admitted that his team went in the tank when it was apparent that they weren't going to make the playoffs.
Sure.
They basically quit on their fans and ran out Andrew Wiggins or whoever else they have, MCW. Who do they have on that team?
You talking about Dallas Mavericks?
Yeah, they have one of the Sixer former draft guys.
Talking about Nerlens Noel.
Nerlens Noel, I'm sorry.
But you start seeing guys like Yogi Ferrell.
Yogi Berra was out there, I think.
Point guard.
No, so Nerlens Noel, so he said we played all our young guys, and we basically tanked the season.
Same thing Phoenix did.
Yeah, but Phoenix tanked and didn't get any benefit from it.
I understand. Well, they got the 4th pick in the draft.
But still, they should have multiple picks.
I agree.
The Brooklyn Nets are the dumbest franchise
That's your boy Billy
in
King.
sports. Billy King will go down as one of the worst general managers in NBA history.
He might be
in multiple franchises.
He might be the worst general manager in the entire.
He's got a Russian boss who's got to be ready to go back to Russia.
I'd be surprised if he doesn't have a bazooka pointed at his head right now.
This guy had the worst team in basketball, and it wasn't even close.
Nope.
And you know where they're going to pick in the draft this year? 27th. The Boston Celtics, who are the best team in the Eastern Conference, are going to pick first. The worst team in the Eastern Conference is going to pick 27th. So explain to me how the NBA draft lottery, and if you're a conspiracy theorist, as many are when it comes to the hanky-panky shenanigans and the absolute skullduggery that goes on in the NBA.
Skullduggery?
That's a word that's not used very often.
That's a new one, bro.
Tomfoolery, hijinks, skullduggery, basically criminal acts, defrauding fans of their hard-paying money. Phoenix Suns did it. Brooklyn Nets did it. The Sixers have done it for a couple of years.
We call that the process around here.
The Boston Celtics have done it. San Antonio Spurs, by the way. Do you know how many lottery picks the San Antonio Spurs have had since 1997?
0.
3.
What do they have?
97. 3 picks since 97.
Well, they have Tim Duncan's draft.
David Robinson,
Tim
Duncan, and you know who the third lottery pick is that they've had since 1997?
The third lottery pick?
They've only had 3 lottery picks. Yet they've been the best franchise consistently since then.
I don't know.
Sean Elliott, not
Sean
a superstar.
Elliott was a lottery pick?
Yes, Sean Elliott was a lottery pick. Not a Tim Duncan, not the first overall pick.
No, I know who Sean Elliott is.
But a really good NBA All-Star.
Solid.
So 3 lottery picks. They parlay 2 of them into Hall of Famers and 1 into a really damn good NBA All-Star. I'll give you another example. How about, you know who's had the most lottery picks over the last 33 years of the lottery in the NBA? The Golden State Warriors.
What?
They've had 22 lottery picks in 33 years.
Well, I remember
That's the most.
Their last number 1 overall pick was Joe Smith. I think
Yes,
that was
but-
their last number 1 over. Or was it Bogut? Was Bogut number 1 overall?
Yes, but I don't think he wasn't the Warriors pick. I think he was Utah, wasn't he?
No. I'm sorry. Bogut wasn't drafted by them. Bogut went there later. No, I think Joe Smith was the last number 1 overall.
I don't have that information. I'm just giving you a breakdown. So they've had the most picks, 22 in 33 years, which means they've been bad a lot.
Right.
Now, obviously, most recently, they've been able to parlay Steph Curry and
Klay Thompson and Draymond Green.
Exactly, into a really, really damn good best
They're
team
going
in the
back to the
Western
finals.
Conference. The LA Clippers and the Sacramento Kings, conversely, have had 21 picks, lottery picks, and they have they don't have the combined number of successful picks that the Golden State Warriors have had.
It's incredible, man. What the Clippers suck too, man. They're
But the
terrible.
Clippers have had some success. Blake Griffin was a lottery pick, right?
Yeah.
They got lottery picks, but they also have guys that they picked up in trades. And now they're in absolute disarray, are they not?
Yeah, they need to dismantle that thing.
Now you got the worst. You know who the worst team is with lottery picks as far as cashing them outside, bro?
Cash them outside, turn them into actual
The Utah Jazz.
What?
The Utah Jazz have had 9 lottery picks over the years. The only 2 guys who managed to be NBA star players, Darren Williams, who they had later traded to New Jersey, right?
Yeah.
And Gordon Hayward, who's still with them right now, who's a good player.
Derek Favors looks like he's gonna be a flop.
Well, that's my point. They've had 9 lottery picks. 2 of them have turned out to be damn good NBA players. Darren Williams, damn good NBA player. Gordon Hayward.
At one point it was Darren. Like, who do you want? Darren Williams, Chris Paul. Darren Williams.
Exactly.
Like, he was on.
Well, so I'm giving them credit for 2 absolute hits.
Yeah,
Gordon
Hayward's a
and
hit. Hayward's a hit.
The other guys, players, but not franchise turners.
No.
Because when you have a lottery pick, you're looking for, it doesn't have to be the guy, but you want a guy who's going to come in and be something, at least a major contributor.
When you're picking in the lottery, when you get in the top 4, top 5 players, especially like 1, 2, 3, when you say that they have to be like the actual franchise guy, maybe not, but they need to be a serious focal point and centerpiece of your team. Absolutely.
But here's the other interesting thing.
You can't pick guys that at 1 or 2 and be rotational players. That's an absolute swing and a miss.
But the thing about the Spurs, I mean, the Mark Cuban thing, listen, I give him credit for admitting it, but that's still pretty disgraceful. When you're a successful entrepreneur like Mark Cuban and you're on Shark Tank and you're saying, hey, we're doing what everybody else does. The NBA needs to stop this. The NBA as a business
what
model,
can you do,
they
though,
have to
Tony?
stop teams from, then you have to admit, you know what? If you do it at the beginning of the year like the Sixers were doing, everybody bought into it because they pretty much announced during Sam Hinkie that they were going to purposely suck. They proved it. The Mavericks still had some legitimate NBA talent on their roster.
They really did. But what I'm saying is that if you're gonna say what the Sixers did in the beginning of the year and say, okay, we're tanking, like just go out and say it, we're tanking, then what's the point even playing the game?
You have to play the game because you're asking people to pay money to go watch your product.
They don't let them pay.
Here's what they should do. And one guy had a proposal today that I agree with.
What do you got?
The NBA's got to do something. For example, by March 1st, if it's apparent that your team is not trying,
done.
That's when you lock in the draft picks. You lock in the draft picks then. Then teams don't have any more reason to go out and then screw over fans for the last 2 months of the regular season by throwing out D-League players and guys who should be paying you to come watch them play.
What do you mean you lock in the draft picks then? How can you pick the draft lottery midway through the season?
You get rid of the draft lottery. You get rid of the draft lottery.
So what are you doing? You're talking about taking the records at that point
Yes,
of March 1st
you
and
take
saying,
the
okay,
teams with the worst records and then you slot them right then and there. So this nonsense, this bullshit, these parties, this crappy guys masturbating at some bar about a GM screwing people out of money and being proclaimed a genius because he came up with the brilliant idea of throwing out guys who shouldn't be allowed to watch an NBA game but collect money for playing an NBA game, and that's the secret of success in modern day America. We're going to go out and not compete and throw garbage at you, and you're going to love it and watch it, and people are doing it.
I still think a draft lottery is stupid.
It is stupid.
The worst teams just get the first
pick. It is
pick.
stupid. And the reason they came up with a lottery is because they didn't want the best teams, always getting the best players. They wanted the worst teams to have a better chance of improving themselves. Yeah, that's the whole purpose of the lottery.
Yeah, but the best teams are going to be picking towards the back end of the lottery, a la the NFL draft.
But then the Boston Celtics, because of morons like Billy King, wind up getting the best record in the Eastern Conference, that team's gets the number one pick.
They're going to be horrendous again next year, and Boston still gets another lottery pick from them next year.
Exactly.
For Kevin Garnett and frickin' Paul Pierce, when they had a year left combined between the both of them, he got 4 first-round picks out of them.
That's what that. So what I'm saying is the commissioner has to step in and save the league from itself. You have to save the owners, like Prokhorov up there in Brooklyn. You got to save him from his own idiotic managers and people running his franchise. He's got people running his franchise who have no clue what they're doing, and the NBA allows it to happen. It's a joke. Could you imagine any other business in the world where you hire CEOs whose purpose it is to go out there and put out inferior product and then have people standing in line to go buy the inferior product? Can you imagine that?
That's incredible.
That would be like the man who came up with the Yugos, telling everybody it was the shittiest car on earth, and then have people stand in line to go buy it because it was the shittiest car on earth. That's what 76er fans have done. That's what Net fans have done. That's what Celtic fans did. The Celtics are the number one team in the East.
Yes.
Best record, and they're going to have the first pick in the end. And the Lakers, who've been dismal for the last 5 years, who tried to screw it up, not wind up with the second pick in the draft, where they're going to get a local kid. So tell me doesn't look like a conspiracy theory. Not the Boston thing. That's just sheer idiocy.
The Lakers thing?
The Lakers getting the number 2 pick.
I really think.
You don't think the NBA wants the Lakers to be good again?
I want to believe that it's on the up and up. But in my heart of hearts, I'm sitting here going, there's no way that they were going to allow the Lakers to not be in the lottery.
And remember, the Sixers.
That's why I think some of it has to be. They can tell me until they're blue in the face that it's being watched like this and this is happening. Like, dude, I don't care. I still believe in the frozen.
That's
envelope.
why I do.
I believe it happened.
And listen, I'm not saying this as a disgruntled Sixer fan who's mad that they didn't get the number 1 and 4 picks, which was a scenario that was very likely.
You're pissed because they took basketball away from you. That's why, because the league has been crap because of this.
The Lakers had a 53% chance of being out of the top 4 picks, which is a damn good chance.
That's better than half, man.
And guess what? They got the second pick.
I know, right?
Which then denies the Sixers the 1st and 4th pick possibilities, which a lot of Sixer fans during the year, they're going to get the Lakers.
Well,
the Lakers going to be out of the lottery. The Sixers going to have the 1st and 4th pick in the draft.
Hoping.
Oh, my, let's have a party.
You're hoping. No,
there were jerk-offs that called sports radio stations every day, masturbating to the thought of the Lakers sucking, which they did.
Yeah, they sucked.
And still wind up getting screwed. Now, the Sixers aren't screwed because they get the 3rd pick in the draft. They should get another good piece to build this thing. Sure. I understand that. But when you sit around an entire season and the only thing you root for is your team losing, hoping that you can suck better than the other teams suck, and then hope that you can get lucky in a stupid lottery ball thing that is so convoluted they can't even show it on television. They can't even show it on television because it's not based on like the lottery that you see the drawing every night. The pick 3, the balls roll out, you get the 3 numbers.
That's what I mean. I think
the Powerball, you see the numbers roll out. You know why they don't show? Because people every year they ask the same thing. Why don't they show the ping pong balls? Because they're not team names. What they should do is just throw every damn team with 1 ball in there. And then make it a real lottery. Make it a real damn
Doesn't matter
lottery.
where you finish.
Exactly.
I like that.
Do it that way.
I like that.
And then see these then you won't have any team trying to tank. Then you'll have teams actually trying to compete. So if you're not lucky and the best team in the NBA gets the number 1 pick overall, too bad.
Get better.
The Cleveland Cavaliers got it a couple years ago, and they picked a stiff.
That's because that was LeBron Gate right there. I know they took Andrew Bennett. What do you
think? They took a guy who's a certified.
They took
stiff.
Anthony Bennett.
Bennett.
You know who Anthony Bennett plays for?
What the
Brooklyn Nets. That's who he plays for now.
That's my point. Just because the best team gets the number 1 overall pick doesn't mean they're going to get LeBron every year. They got a stiff, and they're still the best team in the Eastern Conference. That's why my point is, you want to make NBA teams play and give the fans their money's worth when they go out and put out money and go parking and go driving down and pay $30 to park on a damn cold January night to watch garbage, then get rid of the lottery. Have a lottery, but have ping pong balls where everybody gets 1 goddamn ball.
Tony, you ever like my NFL fantasy draft lottery? There's like 30 eyes watching these balls. You physically like it's under more of a microscope than the NBA lottery is, which cracks me up, man. Just put it all out there for people to see.
Exactly
I don't know
right.
why they got to hide behind a.
Then they have all these strappers in suits standing there, at a panel, like the match game, except there's nothing exciting that happens.
Now, I want to just quickly interject here. Do we have any phone calls before it gets too late?
No.
And there's no phone calls coming in?
Nope.
Come on, people. Our phone number, 717-363-TONY. That's 717-363-8669.
Yeah, this isn't an NPR. We don't have to spend $18 to call in.
No, please
or
call
if you'd
us.
like to send us cash, I mean, we'll accept cash. Although I need to get one of those little square things for my phone so I can swipe it. Although we should do a straight cash podcast. Straight cash, homie, as Randy Moss once said.
No, it's even easier. PayPal. Just send it to us through PayPal. If you would like to support the show, send it to us
because
through PayPal.
These people are going to buy themselves. Man.
We're not getting a dime from the government like NPR. So if you really want to support a radio program that is completely
and
funded.
we actually had that happen. When we first started, we had a fantastic listener who actually provided
Brian Gutherman.
Brian Gutherman.
A man who's a nuclear physicist.
Yes.
To show you the smartness of this show. A man who works with nuclear reactors was the first man to step forward and say,
and he helped us
this is the kind of rocket science radio that we love.
Because he loved us so much, he wanted to make sure that we actually had the equipment to make it happen.
Wait a minute, Steve, our buddy in Colorado is upset. Unfortunately, Forza Corrado ain't there tonight. Not good.
Hey,
we can't
take
force
it up with
Joe
him.
to come here. He's got a life too.
He chose between coming here or staying at the shore. You can take that up with him. And not only that, he's missing out on the roast beast.
Is that thing still turning?
Yep.
It has about 15
minutes. Did the little nipple pop up yet?
It did.
It's
done.
popped?
It's popped. The nipple is popped.
Dude, does it look like a number 2 pencil eraser, brand new, out of the box?
No. It looks like a little turkey baster nipple.
By the way, Barbecue Beef Balboa has done it again, ladies and gentlemen, on Twitter. Did you see it?
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
He
now.
has the very first Luigi, Tony, and the great Joe Corrado in full rompums in front of the famous brick wall.
I'm just now seeing this.
In front of the brick wall picture. We got to retweet
that. Is so fantastic.
Don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter at Tony Bruno Show, at Miss Robin Austin, at Luigi Curto 22, CURTO 22, and of course at Forza Corrado, FORZI.
Can we have I'm going to ask you, Barbecue Beef Balboa, add me in there with the female romper. So the romper with 4 rompums. Those are good odds for me.
This picture is horrible.
Oh, it's a great picture.
I think it's awesome.
I look good in the rompum.
You do look good in the rompum.
And you got the pot. And Luigi's got his hands completely buried playing pocket ball in his rompum.
Know.
You know how guys play pocket ball when they don't have
I'm
any
actually
underwear?
looking for my balls, and that thing is what I'm doing more than
Luigi,
anything.
that's a good look, and it's a good picture of you. It's perfectly placed because you're on the right-hand side of the picture.
It's the powder blue, too. It's
and
nice.
you got the head cocked a little bit to the left.
That is the 007 look.
And I got the striped ones in the middle, which I like, the gray white stripes. And then Joe's got his hands on his hips because when he dips, you dip, we dip. And he's got the what would you call it, navy blue? It's not quite navy.
That's not a navy.
It's
That's
not
more
dark
like
enough to be.
Yeah, it's not dark enough to be a navy. That's
could be
more
in the
like
navy
a.
with
Well, of course, you can see the 7 Seas.
What would you call that? Like a dusty blue?
Dusty blue?
It's not because it's not a royal blue.
I don't know. I just like, my favorite color, cobalt blue is my favorite
Cobalt
color.
blue? You a cobalt blue guy? I'm a navy guy, man.
Okay, Poppy.
I am too, baby. I am.
What up?
Just so that you know, I was able to find not only did I find the new Gladys iPoppy.
Yes.
Which.
Should we play that right now?
Play that right now.
Let's go to the tape.
Which I actually don't think is as good as the original. Which
no, she was in studio. This is on the phone.
Yeah, well, make sure the kids
She phoned it in as opposed to doing it in the flesh.
But she forgot the CC at the end. So
I know.
go ahead, play the new one.
Well, I got to find the old one. It's in my old 360
I know.
machine.
We need to find that.
Ay, papi, qué rico. Dame más, dame más.
That had a little bit more
passion
in it.
Okay, Papi.
Exactly.
What up?
I did, however, add the okay Poppy, which I think is quite appropriate for so many different things.
No, it's one of my new favorite drops.
Yeah.
I like it.
I like it too.
What else we doing tonight, man?
We got football. How about the LeGarrette Blount signing by the Philadelphia Eagles? You like that?
I love it.
I do too. which I didn't know. It's a 1-year deal, 1.25 guaranteed. If he scores 18 touchdowns, he'll make $2.8 million, and the Eagles will be in the Super Bowl.
There you go.
Not necessarily, but obviously with the Patriots, had 2 terms with the Patriots. Obviously, a guy that, remember at Oregon, he punched a dude out, and people got mad at him. And then he went to the NFL and had a pretty good career.
He's still having a pretty good career.
Yeah, he's only 30. It's not like he's shot.
No, but they needed a big back, and that's what they went out and got.
18 rushing touchdowns last year in New England. You know the last guy to have 18 rushing touchdowns in the National Football League?
18 total?
One season. The last guy, yes. No. Adrian Peterson in 2009. Adrian Peterson in 2009.
He's dead to me.
Was the last NFL running back to have 18 rushing touchdowns in one season. 1,161 yards, 299 carries. Now, a lot of his touchdowns were the give me 2 yards and punch it into the end zone type.
That's what you need, though.
Exactly.
That's what we've needed here for a long time.
Exactly. So all these people, in New England it's a different story. And, you hand the ball. Tom Brady hands it off to LeGarrette Blount. He runs. Right. Carson Wentz, with all due respect to the Patriots and their greatness, Carson Wentz hands it off to LeGarrette Blount when he needs 2 yards, 1 yard. Chances are this guy is a bull enough that he's going to get it for you.
Right.
He's not going to kick it outside and try to take it real wide and then lose 5 yards.
Right.
This guy's a beast.
No, he's a straight-up downhill runner. It's what they need.
Exactly. They have scat backs. They have smaller guys. That's what they need. Everybody was upset about the draft. Oh, you better draft a running back in the first round. This is why you don't draft a running back in the first round. This is why you don't draft a running back. Just because the last 2 years they've had a couple of stud guys, there have been more stiff first-round running backs than studs.
It's a swing, Tony, but there's a swing now. I think there's a swing.
There's no swing, nothing. Why? Because 2 years? How about Todd Gurley? Was he a swing?
Todd Gurley's a decent
how about
running
the guy that just got unloaded by the Green Bay Packers?
Eddie Lacy was several years ago,
But he was still a top pick. He was a first-round pick because he played it out. How about Trent Richardson? Tony. Another high first-round draft pick. How many
quarterbacks suck?
There's a difference.
I would take anybody. I wouldn't take a quarterback in the first round if you freaking paid me to.
Not even Carson Wentz with the second pick?
Nope, not at all.
Yeah, you have to.
Because you swing and miss more on a quarterback than anything else in the world, Tony.
Running backs, great quarterbacks are a rarity. Great running backs are a dime a dozen. Great running backs are a dime. Quarterbacks are not a dime a dozen.
Tony, people take quarterbacks because they can't freaking resist. Because they all think he's going to be the next franchise
guy. Because the quarterback's the most important guy you need on your team.
Right.
A running back is not the most important guy you need in team.
Yeah. But who helps a quarterback more than anything else on the field? A running back, Tony.
No, a good tight end. A good tight end who can get open over the middle of the field, like Jay Novacek and Jason Witten have for the last 20 years.
Well, guess what? We don't have that here. We have Zach Ertz. That's what we have here. The team needed a running back. Carson Wentz's best friend should have been a brand new shiny running back, and his name should have been Dalvin freaking Cook.
No way.
Yeah.
You're on drugs.
Way.
You're on drugs.
Okay. Go ahead.
Dalvin Cook.
Derek Barnett. We'll be singing Derek Barnett's name on his way out of here soon.
Bull. He'll be getting to the quarterback, helping that defense. You need to learn about football.
I do know.
Come to the table.
I know about needs.
Well, I'm talking about football needs.
Okay.
Not those needs.
Sorry. What I need is that roast beef. I'm sweating in here. I'm getting the meat sweats.
I'm getting the hot meat sweats too. You can make gravy off my schwitz right now.
It is pretty.
You put that in a pan. You get the drippings.
No, don't ruin it. Don't ruin it.
Are we gonna make gravy out of the drippings, Robin?
Are you?
I wasn't.
Can't be dry roast beef, can it?
I don't think that thing's gonna be dry at all, bro.
It'll be nice and wet.
Oh yeah.
I think it's wet.
I got to read the email we got.
Go for it.
I got to find it here now.
Oh great. Eventually, we're gonna read this email.
No, we got it before the show. Can you go, Robin?
By the way, did you know that we have? It is Preakness this coming.
I know it's
weekend.
the Preakness, Robin.
And we're going to miss the Preakness party at the Piazza.
I've never been to the Preakness party at
We've
the
been
Piazza.
invited again, but
we have
a wedding.
I'm not going to go dress up like a strapper to go to some stinking hipster joint.
No, we're
going to
dress up like strappers to go to a wedding.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's getting married again?
My niece, Nicole.
Congratulations.
Nicole Calisi getting married to the great Joe
Dottore.
Mazel tov, man.
No, they're Italian.
I know, Tony.
Okay. Can I just say something? Like, most of the time when you know people that have met each other in high school and they started dating and then you hear they're getting married, you're like, oh, God. How stupid can they be? Because normally that's not a good thing. Like, you really shouldn't get married that young. Because...
Ooh, I just heard the beep.
Did you hear a ding?
The ding.
I heard the ding. Ladies and gentlemen, As
It
we
dinged.
like to say.
Oh, and the light went off. It stopped spinning. It is done.
As we like to say on this show, it is a final now.
So we're just gonna let it sit
Ladies
there
and
for a little
gentlemen, we got to let it. You know what you got to do with any roast. You know your meats, Luigi.
Yeah, you got to let it rest, bro.
Yeah, you gotta let it rest. So anyway, normally because the younger you get married, the higher the divorce rate. There's nothing. There's the statistics are out, and normally when you see two young people, no matter how much they look like they're in love, whatever, you're like, oh, this is just such a bad idea. However, I don't think I have ever seen somebody a couple that is more compatible, that is more.
Exactly, it's unbelievable.
I mean, it's just like they are so great
The fact
together.
that anybody can last more than 10 years in this day and age is remarkable.
And they've
You know what I'm
already
saying?
been together like 10 years, and they're
I know.
24, 25, something like that.
Ready to have their first house. By the way, I don't know who this new Twitter follower is. Not Megan. Marianne Lepeur. She's
that's a good
following
name.
us on Twitter.
Oh, yes.
She's a connoisseur of F words.
Oh, all right.
Oh, that's-
F1. No, she's a connoisseur of words. F1, football, baseball, soccer. Refusing to give in to the emotional rust. Enjoy every sandwich. I totally don't know what that means, but I like it. She's out there in East L.A. and a new
Now,
follower of the show.
we have old acquaintances, old people that we know.
Old people?
But the first time checking in on Facebook, Jill December. Now,
Yeah,
she-
we just had burgers with him over there at Punk
Right,
Burger a
well,
couple weeks
she
ago.
wasn't here.
Oh, Jill was on. Jill's checking in?
Yeah,
not,
Jill's
not her
checking in.
husband?
No.
Not
She's-
Jim?
No, Jim, I don't know if he's working or not, but Jill says she's checking in. She says she loves the show.
We love Jill, too. We had a great cruise with her 2 years ago. 2 summers ago. We went cruising in on the beautiful 45-foot lagoon
I so
in the
want to be
British
back
Virgin
there.
Islands with the soft-coat Indian leather. No, that was a different. That was
a different cruise.
That was the. What was
And I
the?
think-
the
what is
the
the-
third
what is the
cruise?
guy's name that's the owner of the Soggy Dollar Bar? Isn't it Phil or something like that? He's from Philly.
Yes. We
If
got to
you're-
get Luigi out to the
If
Soggy
you are
Dollar Bar.
listening, if you are listening, please,
Please, damn it.
Can we do a remote? We'll bring all of
I
our
told you
equipment.
that's my goal in life. As I grow out the beard again, I resisted and I traded. I resisted, like a lot of people
You know
are doing
where
on
the-
the
I swear to you,
government.
I will move to that island and I will sell boogie boards and jet skis.
Now I'm going to
all
have to
day.
shave
I'll
again because my sister Gina is
I
screaming
know.
that I have to clean up for the wedding.
Yeah, she's actually even
So
asking.
2 times now I've tried to let my beard grow out. Tried to let the hair grow so that I can get the
no.
full gray
No.
ponytail look.
No.
So that I can
No.
become the absolute perfect beach bum bartender.
Tony,
wearing a onesie,
I'll
wearing
make
my
you a deal.
wampum.
When we move
Pouring-
to the BVI, you get to
with
do
you,
the
dude. I'm
ponytail,
with
but
you.
you can't do it beforehand. Now, not only is she
I'll try to
asking
be-
Tony to shave,
Who makes a better painkiller? The only
Nobody.
person who makes a better painkiller than me is the bartender at the Soggy
now-
Dollar Bar.
Luigi, have you had painkillers yet?
Yeah, we've made them.
Okay.
We used to
Oh,
make
that's right,
a
after the
at
show.
Comedy Sports. We used to bring a whole
Okay.
55-gallon drum of them.
There's a thing of memories.
I know.
I guess I have them.
I
You don't.
have. I didn't remember.
That's fine.
But not only is
Jesus,
she
man.
asking you to shave, she's asking you to dye your beard as well.
You know, I don't do that stuff for nobody.
She's
Oh, I did it for
asking.
TV
Yeah, you
purposes.
did.
She's asking.
I'll call her. I'm going to make my pledge to you right now.
Here we
and you
go.
can mark the tape. This is going to be recorded, unlike White House phone conversations or Jim Comey notes. This is something you can go back and check for accuracy. There's no unnamed sources, no nonsense, no switching stuff in the back room like they do in jewelry stores sometime. Yeah, the ads for these jewelers. And no switching in the back room. Like
Yep.
you pick out your diamond, and then they go in the back and
And give you a
switch it
lesser
out.
quality, right.
Exactly.
'Cause you
That
don't
doesn't
know-
happen on the
you
show.
don't know
We
the
may
fir-
give you lesser quality sometimes, but there's no switching in the back room. So let me make my pledge to you. What's the date today?
March 17th, Tony.
March 17th, 2017.
7:58 p.m.
7:58 p.m. in the East. Once this wedding is completed on Saturday, over at the beautiful Chescafe
That's the reception.
reception.
St. Nick's is
I
the
will be doing a
church.
reading, too. I will be stepping up into the, what is that called in church, the thing you step up into?
The lectern.
No, not the lectern.
Pulpit.
The
The
vest-
pulpit. The bully pulpit.
No, can you call it a pulpit if you're not actually
I thought
preaching?
it was a lectern.
Lectern.
Lectern or whatever it is.
Lectern is just the
Vestibule.
no vestibule's where the
Step
priest
up to
gets
the
changed.
mic, yo.
When I drop the mic
There you
after
go.
I do the reading, I will be doing a reading at the mass for the Nicole and Joe
Can I ask
at
you a
the
question?
wedding.
Can I ask
Yes.
a question? Will you do this for me? Can you please step up there and just go, let's get down to the business?
Let's get down to the business,
please
yo.
do that for me.
Reading from Ezekiel Elliott, 1.3.
Ezekiel
I didn't
Elliott.
even ask.
Reading from the book of Ezekiel Elliott.
Are they videotaping?
I thought
I'm
you.
sure, yeah.
I think you're going Corinthians. That's what I think you're going.
I'm going to go Corinthian letter.
Yeah, you're going to go Corinthians. Old Testament.
I'm going to go Should I go Old Testament or drop some New Testament knowledge?
Tony, I swear, I will literally give you $100 cash if you go. Let's get down to the business.
Oh.
Father Nick, the pastor, will grab me by the ear and then pull me out of the church.
Oh, I would.
And your sister. I don't think
it would make for the greatest. It would be the greatest speech
It
ever.
would.
It would be a viral video, and then
It would.
make a lot of money.
Ladies
We
and
have our own
gentlemen,
YouTube channel. We already do.
Let's get down to the
Well,
business.
and the kids, they actually have not planned their honeymoon yet. They are they're going completely different. They're
broke now. They have like 15 engagement parties.
Oh, that's why.
What was the thing they did last week? We went
The
to
serenade.
The serenade. They had it. Now we're doing a rehearsal dinner tomorrow night. They've had more pre-wedding parties
maybe this would be a
than
good
the
thing.
Oscars.
If they actually had a viral video, then they could pay for their honeymoon.
That's true. Should I go rogue when I give the reading at the
Go rogue?
wedding?
What do
Yeah,
you
go
mean?
rogue, which means go off script.
Yeah, that's why I said you got to go. Like, let's get down to the business. I'm telling you, man.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Start like evening bitches. Something like that. Like it would work.
What up, yo?
Yeah, what up?
What up?
What up?
What up, parishioners?
Exactly.
What up, bride and groom?
Oh man.
What up?
What up, happily ever after?
Oh, Dennis Taylor says that you're going to be reading from Revelations.
Revelations?
I'm thinking he's going Corinthians.
I found my revelation. It was called 30 Years of Marriage.
Yeah, it's your revelation.
You're damn right.
Okay, Poppy.
You're damn right.
Tony, you know what?
What?
Let's go to break, man.
We got to let the meat rest.
I can't believe nobody called in, and now we're not going to be able to take calls
Yeah,
for
we
another
can.
like 30.
Yes, we
30
will.
Well,
Yeah,
we're gonna play the Rico Brogna interview out of the break,
Right.
and then the phone lines will light up, and we'll go heavy calls.
Remember, it's not just about people listening at this moment, this
I
one
know.
shining moment.
But I just know that there was a bunch of people saying that they wanted to call in. Do not wait. Like, once the Rico Brogna is over, give us a freaking call. Otherwise, it's going to be too late for you tonight.
And we'll
It's not just about calls, Robin. This isn't sports talk radio.
No, but I'm
Right.
saying that they complained.
heavy
that
phones. Heavy phones.
Yeah.
I'm saying that they complained that they weren't able to get in. Well, it's your own damn fault if you don't call.
Are you scolding the audience out
Yes,
there?
I am.
Ridiculous.
So we're going to break.
Don't go there with me. Don't go there with me. Don't go there with me.
That's
You want to
right.
keep it real, you keep it real with me. Because I ain't for no games.
Me neither.
So
When we come back, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to go get the meat, slice that baby, slap it up, flip it, and rub it down. We got some potatoes. What else we have with this? Little mac and cheese?
No, I
Robin?
think Robin did like a chop salad.
I made a wedge salad.
Where's
with
the
some
damn
blue
mac
cheese.
and cheese I bought last night?
Well, I didn't have time to do that, but I made a wedge salad.
Time to do it. You put it in the microwave. It's pre-cooked.
There's more than enough food, Tony.
We have potatoes,
We got
fingerling
potatoes.
Yeah, you can't go too many carbs. Huh?
And
Fingerling?
We got the fingerling roasted potatoes that are perfection.
What else?
And then I have a wedge salad with some bacon and some blue cheese
Oh,
dressing.
you bought a head of regular iceberg lettuce?
Correct. And
You got some blue cheese. You got some
Should've
little
grown it.
bacon
You
bits
should've
on there.
grown it.
Exactly.
What else you got on there?
Bacon bits, a couple slices of tomato, like little chopped up ones.
You mean like the little
heirlooms.
Yeah.
The
The little cherry
The
tomatoes.
cherry tomatoes.
cherry tomatoes?
And some
What else?
pepper, fresh ground pepper.
Any fresh like sourdough bread or some good?
And we have some sourdough bread, fresh sourdough bread.
Beautiful. And if you come by the house, we'll slice you off a piece of
Because
roast beef.
since Joe's not here, now we have extra food. Damn
Tutta
it.
tavola e mangiare.
So go pee, go get a drink, and I'm sure your food won't be as good as ours, but hey, whatever.
Exactly. We'll be right back.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Show starts in 5 minutes.
The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candies. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
We're happy to have you with us this evening and want you to enjoy every minute of your stay here. And while you relax and stretch, visit our concession where you'll find something to please you. There are ice-cold drinks and many other pleasing treats. Our drinks, satisfying and refreshing. They're so good.
Show starts in 4 minutes. Show starts in 3 minutes.
It's refreshment time, folks.
Taste that beats the others cold. Pepsi pours it on. Taste that beats the others cold. Pepsi pours it on.
Show starts in 2 minutes. Show starts in 1 minute. And now, on with the show.
We continue here, the Tony Bruno Mess, the podcast, coast to coast, barrel to barrel, border to border, all the way up from Watertown, Connecticut, all the way out to Anaheim, California, and places in between, like Salem, Virginia. I don't even know where Salem, Virginia is, and I know a lot of places in Virginia, but this man is in Salem, Virginia. He's scouting the single A team for the Boston Red Sox because he's scouting for the Anaheim, Los Angeles, Disneyland adjacent Angels. And he's a former Major League great. We loved him here in Philly. They loved him with the Mets until they realized that the guy had a condition with his spine. So he became ours for a couple of years and actually hit 24 home runs as a Philadelphia Philly, his best year as far as swinging the bat when it was here in Philly. And, of course, you knew him with the Mets. You knew him as a quarterback. I mean, he played all sports, and you know him, you love him. He is the great. Let me play this, Rico, because I got to do it. I know, I'm sure you've heard this before. Okay. We got to play this for you now.
Oh, sweet.
Rico Brogna. Have you heard that one before, Rico, or what?
Oh, man, that was a blast from the past. Yeah, I remember, hitting about 3 home runs one season in New York, and they played that my rookie year in 1994 as I was hitting second base, and I went, oh man, I think they just came up with my song. I gotta hit more doubles than homers, so I don't have to listen to that. That's my excuse for not hitting a lot of home runs. No, that's a lot. I mean, I can't believe how long ago it was. 94, I think.
Yeah, because you obviously came up in the big leagues with the Tigers in 1992, and the other thing about with the Detroit and then the Mets, and then you come to Philly and you have probably your most productive couple of years. I mentioned the 24 home runs. You also were the first guy to ever hit a home run at Coors Field in Colorado, right? You hit the first home run there.
Yeah, absolutely. The air was thin enough for me to get it up over the center field wall, and that was before any kind of humidor was helping out the pitchers. So I took full advantage of the thin air in the Rocky Mountain High and hit a good line drive off Billy Swift, 3-2 sinker. My first at bat in the first game I ever played at Coors Field. They shoveled the snow off the field. We played in -40 whatever degrees that night, and the ball carried, and I hit it out. But that's pretty cool. That's one of those things that can only happen once, and so I'm really flattered and humbled and all that, to have that. But Philly was my time, man. It was 4 years under Tito Francona with Scott Rowland, my boys, Blue Collarville, Rocky Balboa land. I just couldn't have been more. It's a home away from home still for me and my wife Melissa.
Well, the fans here love you, Rico. I mean, you're a Philly kind of player. You know how it goes in this town. You could be a superstar, but if you don't perform, they're going to boo you. Like Mike Schmidt and those guys who were Hall of Fame greats got booed when people thought that they were so. Remember, Mike Schmidt, people thought he was so cool because he could do everything so easily. So and to them, it was, he's too cool, man. I want to see some fire. And even though he was making, like, unbelievable plays at third base, he wasn't getting dirty enough. But guys like you and Richie Hebner, guys just came out and played hard all the time. That's why you'll always be remembered in this town. And the fact that you were one of the best first basemen we ever saw in this city.
No, thank you. Yeah, it was the perfect place for me in many ways. I really grew up understanding the Northeast kind of, Philly, Boston, rough, blue collar, get your nose dirty, get your uniform bloodied, run hard, never quit. That was something I grew up with, and being from New England as a kid my whole life. So the Northeast I was familiar with. The best part about Philly, I think, is I was just middle road enough, blue collar enough to have this great relationship with the fans, the city, the folks, everyone in Philly. I think it's harder on superstars for the reasons you said, Tony, that some things come easy for superstars, and they're always perceived in that area, right or wrong, that they could do better, they could work harder, they could, but for me to maximize my talent, I needed to rip my uniform every night, sprint, hustle, do all the little things just to get the 24 home runs. But for me, it was just about trying to win a game. We play tonight. Let's try to win tonight. What can I do to help us win tonight? Not think about tomorrow. And that's why I hit it off with the Philly fans. Great place. I love it.
And Rico, this is Luigi talking now, and I think the fact of the matter is why you hit it off so good is because this is a working class town, and you're a working class player. It's one of those, bring your lunch pail to work kind of guys. That's what you were.
Yep, bingo, exactly. I think, Jim Eisenreich, myself, we had these, whether I have my back and spine condition or Izzy had his, nervous twitches and, whatever the ailments were, we played every day. I think the most part, for 4 years in Philly, I think 3 of those years I might have led the team in games played per season, and I had no business doing that. 155, something like that, games a year, beat up, cortisone shots, eye black, everything about just getting it done, and not taking a minute for granted. I didn't take a minute for granted. I think that's exactly what you're saying, Luigi. Not that I don't want to say other guys did. It's just that I didn't, and everyone knew that. But I was booed when I was hitting 167 in April, my first year there. I'd go back to the dugout, taking another right turn after first base and making another out, and I heard words that it was a new dictionary. For me, and that made me tougher. I didn't back down. That made me tougher. I wanted to please them.
Talking with the great Rico Brogna, and as I mentioned, scouting for the Anaheim, Los Angeles, Disneyland adjacent Angels, that I've been calling them for a long, long time.
Which is the greatest description ever.
I know. I called them the California, then they became the Los Angeles Angels. So I would always say on my national show, the California, Los Angeles, Disneyland adjacent Angels, and people loved it out there. Now, speaking of the Angels, can you? I know you're scouting for them. Can you work out some sort of a deal where you can get a local guy, Mike Trout from Millville, New Jersey, back to Philadelphia somehow so he can play for the Phillies?
I'll take C.J. Cron right now. Are you kidding me? Take anything to help this team.
Well, everyone talks about the Herschel Walker trade, right? That kind of deal for Mike Trout. That wouldn't even be enough. Wow. Honestly, Mike Trout is Mickey Mantle all over again. Even looks kind of the same body type. With that, the thing you can't believe about Trouty is his speed. Like Mickey Mantle when he was younger. You hear the stories. So I didn't get Mike Trout going down the line over 4.00 many times. It was either right there or faster. And
I think Mickey Mantle go 4.0 a few times.
Yeah. Mickey Mantle's 4.00 was a breathalyzer, I think, but nobody cared back then because guys could go out and drink and play hard. Nobody cared, right?
Yeah, it was game on. You just did what you had to do, and that. You know what? The thing about Charlie I like is the fact that he is a Philly guy, South Jersey. Philly, he's really a Phillies guy. Eagles. He goes to the games. And Flyers. We talk about it when my Patriots beat up on his Eagles. We text each other, and he's just that kind. So he's a perfect fit. That being said, he loves the laid back atmosphere of LA, and it's just beautiful. Everything you could like about playing a game of baseball at night is 72 sunny, all that stuff being at home, but he is a Philly guy. He's a blue collar guy, and I think that's why one of the reasons why he's so good. Now Matt Klenczek, I'm a buddy with. He was the assistant GM. Assistant GM in Anaheim, Los Angeles, Anaheim, California / Angels.
Don't forget Disneyland adjacent, though. Don't forget Disneyland adjacent, because it's right next to Disney. Because when Robin and I lived out there, and I lived in L.A. for 11 years, we go to Disneyland all the time because it was close.
Right.
Yeah, I forgot the adjacent. Adjacent is very, very geometry is very important in this conversation. Naming the team.
Rico, I want to go back because I saw the interview that you did, and I knew about your history with the back, and obviously, with the spine and the Mets. A lot of people say the Mets did you wrong because they traded you because of your problems, physically. Yet, you went out there and busted it. Yeah. You were a great first baseman. You were a great athlete at college. Clemson recruited you to play quarterback in college. Yeah. You were a great basketball player as a kid. So how hard was that when you realized, that you had ankylosing, I always mess up the actual spinal situation. It's called ankylosing spondylitis, right?
Spondylitis. Yeah, that was an A+ right there because I still pronounce it. I just say AS. It's much easier abbreviating it, but it's a tough word. It's a tough disease. But to be honest with you, at that time in my career, I was a wimp. I didn't know how to play with it. I would cry when it hurt, and it hurt every day. So they saw a side of me that was not yet willing to do what I had to do to play through the pain, or at least do the preparation before the game to feel less pain to play. So when I went to Philly, I realized, hey, this is going to affect my career. Teams are just going to get rid of me. unless I change. So a combination of, wanting to help the Phillies win and wanting to get tougher and learn how to do it, support my family. My wife was pregnant. A lot of important factors at the time of my life. I decided I'm figuring this thing out. But I still don't know how I did it, Tony. I mean, God had a way. I don't know, but it was still. I don't want to give the Mets too much of a break. They got rid of me when I was hurt.
That's it.
Instead of trying to figure it out, but they did land John Olerud, and at the time he was a stud. Right after me, so they might have had that in the works.
I think the Mets are paying for it right now with all these injuries. With Thor out there, not knowing how to handle pitchers and then letting the guy go and throw his arm out. This is, and Matt Harvey going crazy. This is all payback for what they did to Rico Brogna with the New York Metropolitans.
They should still be paying Rico Brogna, not Bobby Bonilla.
Except Bobby Bonilla is still getting paid for failing there, and you were up there and they disrespected you, Rico.
Oh, man, there was motivation. I mean, you talk about a chip on your shoulder. We were in I stayed in the NL East, so I got to play against the Mets, hit a few game winners against them, and I was jacked up to play against them. As much as I enjoyed playing there, I wanted to fight to win every time we played them, or the NL East at that time with the Braves. So we were right in it. Philly was the perfect place for me. I couldn't have been more happy. And, they didn't, it wasn't cool. I mean, it wasn't cool, but it's the reality of an accountable business. Baseball's that type of deal, and it made me grow up. It made me get tougher. Getting tougher, I think, made me fit in better with Philly, and it snowballed into a good thing. Now I'm a baseball lifer. I thought I'd get out of it, but it just keeps pulling you back in, man. It just won't let you go away.
Well, with the scheduling that happened with Major League Baseball, we seem to be playing the NL East every other day. So if you got anything left, Rico, we could use you first for a couple games if you got a few swings, man. If you still want to come back and beat up on the Mets, if you got anything left for them, it'd be the time.
I'm going to sign one of those one-day contracts and keep renegotiating every night so that I can keep getting a one-day contract.
It's sort of like what I do on this podcast.
I do know Matt. I do know Matt. So Matty, if you're listening, sign me up. There's a hot tub. There's some ice and hot gel to throw on my back. Let's go.
Now Rico Brogna is with us here on the podcast, Tony Bruno Show. Ankylosing spondylitis. Now, there's so many forms of arthritis. I mean, I have arthritis. My mom does. It's hereditary. But my sister has a different form of arthritis. Well, I have the typical, the average, what's it called? Not rheumatoid. Rheumatoid's what my sister has, right?
Right.
What's the one that's most common where it's in joints and stuff as you get older? Is that rheumatoid arthritis?
No, the rheumatoid is where it's actually is a different kind of thing that you need to take medication for. It's very painful.
Yeah, like my sister gets injections for it. But you're the type of spinal arthritis that you have, which you always will have, ankylosing spondylitis. What's the treatment for that? When you found out, how did they find out that you had this particular form of arthritis?
Yeah, it's in the family of rheumatoid. So, but it's unique because it covers everything. It's in the rheumatoid under that umbrella, but it covers spinal, other joints, and it just basically just wants to cover everything arthritis. And I take medication I take medication every day, but I get an infusion at the hospital about once every 2 months. So bi-monthly, I'll go in for about 3 or 4 hours, and they'll fill my gas tank up with medicine, and that kind of, gets near empty. About 7 weeks later, I go back and fill up again, and I also take a daily dose of some anti-inflammatory medications, and it really, I do well with it, scouting or coaching, like I've been doing with, I was with the Angels big league staff for a couple years, 2 years ago, coaching. It works. It's good, you find a way. Staying a little active is always good rather than just sitting around and getting tight and stiff. But, you find it just like everything else. You got to find a way, you make it work. And being an athlete or trying to be an athlete anyways, it helps me cope because I learned a work ethic, at least, to try to stay fit.
Now, interestingly enough, I mean, you played in the 90s, and that was the old greenie era where guys were, baseball's changed. It went from guys that used to booze all the time, and then you had the guys with the greenies. And now we have the opioid thing. And obviously, in modern-day baseball, anybody feels any ache and pain, I mean, they're shooting them up right between innings. So if you were playing now, for example, say you're just coming into the big leagues, do you think your situation would have been handled differently based on how much people are so addicted to to painkillers and no matter what it is, they got to get out there and play, or would it have been handled the same way if the condition was now versus then?
Well, it's a good question. There were nights I took I took pain medicine after the game. Not, it wasn't an every night thing like that, but if we had a day game the next day and I was really sore, or a few days, a good week on that turf at the vet, it just helped me sleep. And sometimes after a game or something, it wasn't like an all the time thing, but I don't know. I mean, my situation was unique. I think for me, it might have been the same in every era, I guess. But the thing that really scared me later on was I was taking a lot of prescription Indocin, a lot, too much to play every day at the end of my career, and I was also taking multiple cortisone injection shots, not daily, that would be exaggerating, but basically they had the holsters, ready to fire away, follow me around. They were my shadow, and they'd shoot my shoulder, back, hips, knees, they were on the ready. If I called on them, and which I thanked them for because it helped me play, but I knew I was doing too much of that stuff at the end of my career, which is why I decided to retire.
We're talking with Rico Brogna, and then not only that, you go through all of that, you retire, and then a couple years ago, right, with the Angels, they found out you had testicular cancer, right?
Yeah, that's right. I had a feeling on spring. I was coaching with the team, the big league team, and I had a feeling in spring training something was wrong. I had symptoms that I think I knew right from the start this was not a good thing. And first thing I thought of was cancer. I put it off for about 2 months, thinking, it's going away. It's going away. I took antibiotics. It wasn't an infection. I finally just told our team trainer when we were in San Francisco early that season, I gotta get this thing checked. And they said, you know what? You needed to get surgery last week on this. Right now, you need to get it. Wow. And I did. It was in one spot. They removed it. It's kind of never goes away in your mind, but thank God it just, the doctors did catch it. I did say something, even though it was 2 months. I didn't wait a year or anything like that. So it's all good right now. I mean, I've been through it, Tony. I mean, dude, this is it. This is Philly. We're Philly tough. You just it makes you stronger, right? I mean, if it's not one thing, it's another. But I'm just kind of used to that being what it is, and it's game on. It's okay.
Listen to Rico talk. I'm ready to go give the Rocky statue a Stone Cold Stunner right now.
Now, Rico, is this kind of like with testicular cancer? Is it kind of like breast cancer, where women and men they're afraid to talk about it? They're afraid to talk about and like do the self checks. Like women,
men aren't afraid to do the self checks.
Well, check myself every day, sometimes twice.
But I mean, like you do the breast check. You see if there's a lump. Is it the same kind of thing that you have to check your stuff?
Yeah.
And see if there's lumps? Is that
absolutely. Same thing. It was I was looking for a way to lose some weight. So after the surgery, I dropped 3 or 4, whatever lbs. I was a little bit lighter, so I got to tighten my belt up. I was in a good place, But I did the growth grew, so to speak, and
wow.
I kind of
John Clark went through the similar thing. Right?
It's the same thing. It's like that's not supposed to be there. It's not getting smaller.
Right.
It's not even. It's probably getting bigger, which is the wrong direction for a growth. In a weird spot.
Yeah.
And that's when I just the uncle. But yeah, I think it's embarrassing at first. I was embarrassed, and then no one knew, and I'm embarrassed for me. And then I finally just.
Yeah, but it's not like you're in the locker room and you can go, hey, can you what does this look like? It's not like you can go up to somebody and go, hey, check this out, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know. Absolutely. I mean, it was totally humiliating. You're a guy and you're tough and you can take it. And I've been through all these things physically where I've tried to not, quote unquote, overcome it. I can do it again. It's no problem. And I'm just like, dude, this thing knocked me on my back. And I said, Uncle, I got to go check it. And thank God, something, inside of me said that to do it that day. And the doctor, they did a scan. And sure enough, he said, you need to get this out yesterday. I flew from Anaheim. I went from San Francisco to Anaheim to Connecticut in 3 minutes, which was a pretty fast time. But honestly, I did it as fast as I could, got it removed. it was encapsulated, if that's the right word, to one spot. 6 weeks later, I rejoined the team at Yankee Stadium, and just like guys would be guys, I had a new nickname. They didn't want to, the shower had it's a big shower room in the locker room, 17 shower heads, and guys would go in and out. And it seemed that I was the only one. I was taking a shower. I was the only one in there. So I was like, oh, guys, I get the message, but I'm healthy again. This is a little weird for everyone here, right?
It's not like it's
contagious.
Yes. Well, John Kruk, now remember, Rico,
actually made me feel part of the team again.
Well, John Kruk went through that too, right? He had the same situation, and I know guys would kid him and rib him about one ball and all the other stuff, and that kind of stuff. But he had the same situation.
The nicknames that I was afterwards they came up with for Classic, I was again I love that. It's kind of that team that it meant they cared and missed me and all that stuff. Mike Gallego, when we went to Oakland, being in the AL West, we saw them quite a bit, and we shared. He had a similar experience, and he told me we had a lot of. He helped me. This is going to happen. That might happen. You're going to feel fine, etc. So a few guys have had it. I actually read it online. I think the other day, one of the pitchers in Pittsburgh, playing a current player. I don't want to. I don't know if they did all the tests or whatever, but it was suspected that he might have that. So it's one of those things where you just you want to probably go get it checked as quickly as you can, even though it's kind of an embarrassing situation. Not easier said than done.
Well, and I think it's more common than men would like to think it is, and it is also very easily treatable. It's not one of those cancers that is deadly. You get it treated early on, and you'll be cancer-free.
That was Jamison Talion from the Pittsburgh Pirates?
Yeah.
25-year-old?
Yeah.
So in other words...
Yeah, good young pitcher. Yeah.
So, Rico, you are a proponent, as am I, because I've had a breast cancer scare. It is everybody just go out and touch yourself. Just touch yourself.
I mean, also from the last year from the Colorado Rockies, Chad Bettis, another pitcher.
Yeah, I mean, we're all men are built the same. I mean, we may be different sizes, shapes, colors, races, religions, creeds, but we all have the same plumbing. And it's the same thing with prostate. The prostate cancer awareness now finally is big, and I get it checked every year. I got a colonoscopy for the first time 2 years ago. You got to do this stuff as you get older because guys, they want to be macho and they don't want to have, that's not going to happen to me. Yep. And then it becomes too late. And these preventable cancers, especially the treatable, easily treatable when you catch it early, prostate and testicular. And Luigi had a lump in his breast as a man last year, and he went and had it checked out. They removed it. You got to keep you can't be that. Macho Row was a big thing with the Phillies. You remember those guys, right? Macho Row, all the tough guys.
Absolutely, yeah. It's check it. Yeah, I agree. It's like the medicine and the doctors and technology has come such a long way, but it really, if we as guys, again, easier said than done. But if it's teamwork, if we could just kind of be on the alert and something's not right, check it. Check it. It's easy. Again, easier said than done, but we have to work together. And I was fortunate. It was a type of cancer. It is a type of cancer that can be treatable if you do get it early enough, like I did. So I thank God for that. But I'm on the team. It's like, dude, it can't beat me. It can't beat you. If we get into it, we get to the doctors early. They have magic now. They have a lot of technology and wisdom that can help you. So let's be part of the equation, because if our stubbornness and embarrassment and all that stuff, this stuff I felt actually, honestly, if we can get over that, be part of the cure.
Great stuff. I want everybody right now as a public service, because that's why we're here, not just to make people laugh and have fun and talk sports. Everybody listening right now, if you're a man, I want you to reach down into your private parts right now.
Way ahead of you, Holmes.
I want you to reach down.
I'll turn my
and then
head.
All you women out there too. I want every woman listening, because we have a lot of female listeners.
Yeah,
reach into
I'll
your.
touch myself now.
Robin's touching herself right now. I want every man.
If anybody looks in right now into the studio, they're
no,
going to be
because
really wondering
this
what's
isn't
going
just some.
on.
This isn't some.
We are behind the black curtain, Robin.
This isn't some shock jock tawdry sex talk. This is health talk.
Absolutely.
I feel like Dr. Sanjay Gupta over at CNN,
Sanjay Gupta,
who interviewed Rico, right?
That's a solid pull out of you, man.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta sat down and talked to you about ankylosing spondylitis. So That's what this is. We care about people on the show.
But just remember, touch yourself. Don't touch anyone else.
Well, I'm glad to be a part of it. You know that the it's an all-encompassing show, but it's hey, I think if we could joke about it, laugh about it, like we're doing, all the better, man. It's like, we take things so seriously nowadays, but I mean, obviously that's a serious subject, not to make light of it, but that kind of helps break the walls down. We can kind of be not, I don't know if they call it less manly or less macho row. I mean, it would probably be more proper. But yeah, heck, being part of a team, you get humbled by your teammates. They call you funny names, make nicknames up. That stuff is all part of how you beat it. It's part of how you, I don't know. I'm just so thankful that I'm here another day to see my kids and my wife.
Your wife's great, by the way. Got a chance to catch up with her, and great family up there. And so you're still living in Connecticut, right? You didn't move back to Massachusetts, did you?
Correct. Yeah, I'm still in Connecticut. Where my wife and I basically we grew up, the next town over. We met in high school, actually a year before high school. Got married, high school sweethearts. We stayed in Connecticut, and yeah, it's great. It's I've come to Philly a lot. Watched the Army Navy game. I'm a big West Point guy. I know a few people there, and we finally turned the corner. But I usually go see that over at the Eagles Stadium, and certainly scouting. I get down to see the Phillies games and some of their minor league teams too along the way. But home base is still Connecticut, Northeast.
Well, Rico, it's great to talk to you, man. And when next time you get down to Philly, give us a holler, and we'll get together.
I'm going to work on that Mike Trout trade for you, Tony, and you guys. But the price is going to be high. So, get ready to, tell Bill Giles and Dave all the Monty and all the people there in the Phillies ownership group that this one might be costly, but
how about if we give you a couple of first round? The Phillies are loaded in the minor leagues now. How about if we give you 5 minor league prospects and all of the 76ers second round draft picks for the next 3 years, because they have like 50 of them, I think. Would that be enough for the Angels?
Yeah, if we could dive into other sports, we might be able to keep the lines of communication open. I'm sorry, with the Flyers and Eagles, and they got some good up-and-coming youngsters, too. There's no way we can ever trade Mike Trout. That dude is – you can't even explain. Can't explain him. Can't even explain that guy. He's just off the charts.
Bryce Harper, last thing. Bryce Harper or our boy Mike Trout, as you call him, Trouty. Who would you take right now? You had to start a team. Mike Trout, Bryce Harper.
For me, it's not close. And that's not even disrespecting Harper. He's a 70 on the 80 scale, but I've never given a player an 80 or an 8 on the scouting scale where I could actually, in a sane way, put an 8 down there, because there are no 8s. Old-time scouts will tell you there's no 8s.
Well, since you're
Mike Trout has been an 8 for a few years, and he's improving. He's getting better, statistically, everything. So it's not even close for me. That's not disrespecting Harper or any other player. It's just how – it's not close. Trout, I take Trout. He's the best player I've ever seen play, been around. It's not even close.
Well, since we can't help us out with Mike Trout, can help us out with Bryce Harper a little bit?
He just re-signed in Washington. He just re-signed. All the pipe dreams about Bryce Harper becoming a free agent and coming to Philly is not going to happen.
Rico just said that Mike Trout is the best player he's ever seen
in his lifetime.
That's
ever. It's not close. It's not close.
No, I mean the players that you've seen since you've been alive, not the greatest player of all time.
No, I understand, but that's pretty big, man. There's been a lot of players that came through. That's huge, man.
Yeah, but nobody's done what Rico Brogna has done as a Philly. Mike Trout hasn't even done it. Has Mike Trout ever had 3 consecutive games with at least 3 RBIs? Rico Brogna did that. Mike Schmidt did 3 home runs in 3 straight games, but the last Philly to do 3 RBIs in 3 straight games was Rico Brogna in 1998. And you go down the history of all the great players. None of the World Series, not the Chase Utleys, not the Ryan Howard, the Jimmy Rollins. You name the players. None of those guys had 3 consecutive 3 RBI games. That's unbelievable, don't you think, Rico, when you know that?
Well, think about Richie Ashburn, all the guys that came through, none of them had it. That's crazy.
Unbelievable, man.
Yeah, it's, it takes guys to be on base in front of you, though, to drive them in. And I did, I don't know, I wish I had the same focus with nobody on base, but it seemed to lock me in a little bit, knowing there was a run to score. If we could get a point to win that game, I became a little, I don't know. Again, if I was able to lock that in every time up, I would have been a better player. I wouldn't have been in the inconsistent category. But that's awesome, man. Anything Philly that I could be, I'm proud of.
We actually played, called in last week and played a commercial that you did when you were in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
One of these guys who listens to me forever has all tapes of everything I've done, and he played the Rico Brogna commercial. I forget, it was our car dealer or something, right?
No, but it was with somebody. It was Rico with...
Do you remember that?
I remember that. I remember doing a few things. Yeah, I do. There was a Rocky seg that kind of made me into the Italian Rocky.
That's right. Yeah, you were running through the Italian market, and they were saying, "Run, Rico," right? Instead of "Run, Rocky."
Yeah.
I was tossing somebody an orange behind me off to the side, like Rocky did in the movie, and I had that sweatshirt on that was torn to shreds with the hoodie, and the Chuck Taylors. The Chuck Taylors, definitely had those.
Running in those didn't help your back. I know that much.
No, I can't help the back.
Not at all.
No, they look cool, but they had no support whatsoever.
Have you seen a hipster run? It's
awful
impossible.
Cushion, man. Those no heels. They had no heels. They had no heel cushion.
They had no cushion. They were just flat foot. They were like running in flip flops, except they had ankle support. That's about it.
And this was the wave of the future.
Exactly. You could tie laces as tight as you. It's like there was nothing there except the lace. I'll tell you though, for $7.99, you could get two pair.
I know. Those were the good old days, man. Now you can go buy a pair of Lonzo Ball $500 sneakers for his son out there at UCLA.
Yeah, they'll have some cushion to them.
All right, Rico, let you go, man. Hey, how small is that ballpark down there in Salem? How many people show up for that single A game down there?
It's not bad. It's a good area because it's kind of a city area right outside the city in Roanoke. So for a single A team, they draw pretty nice. It's right a big stadium, so it doesn't fill out it doesn't fill up or anything. But I don't know if it's 1,000 or a couple thousand every night. It's not bad. I love going to the minor league games to scout, Tony, because I don't feel like there's 50,000 people, traffic.
Yeah.
You can't get out of your seat. At a minor league game, you can put your feet up. You have 3 seats to yourself. I could go get a burger in the 5th inning. It's like totally a relaxed, and it's fun to watch young players try to figure out what they may become someday.
Exactly. Rico, thank you so much, man. It's great to catch up with you. Appreciate your time tonight. Thank you so much.
All right, Tony. Thanks, guys. I enjoyed it. Appreciate it.
The great Rico Brogna. That's a quality 30 minutes. Not because we did it, because they're not interviews. See, that's one thing I've always said about what I do in this business. I have conversations with people.
Solid talk right there, Tom.
You talk, there's no scripted questions.
Nope.
You just roll. You talk, you ask the next thing that's obvious. And when people always ask me,
or
young
not
people,
so obvious sometimes.
Well, yeah, I mean, sometimes we go off the rails, which is the best part of the show.
There's so many times when people, you listen, for those of you out there, listen to people interviewing. You will hear when the person that is interviewing isn't truly listening, because they will continue with questions even though the answer doesn't exactly make sense regarding the next question.
Or it requires a follow-up. Again,
right.
I'm not trying to... I've been doing this a long time, so I'm not scolding people.
But it drives
people
me
can
nuts.
do whatever they want.
It's actually a personal pet peeve of mine that if you're listening to an interview and they are so centered on the questions that they have in front of them that they absolutely have to ask, and you hear the person being interviewed, they answer a question, and they slightly go off into a different direction, yet the interviewer is so intent on asking that next question that they don't follow up with what should be asked instead.
You're absolutely right. And to me, the way I've always done it. Now, the only time you have to have, ever had to have prepared questions for an interview was when you interviewed the President of the United States.
You have to submit
because you have to
letters.
send them the questions in advance. Because they don't want you, like, blindsiding the President, regardless, whether it was Ronald Reagan, President Clinton, Jimmy Carter, who else? Al Gore, who was the Vice President. Who else? I've interviewed, like, 6 presidents now. Actually, Donald Trump, I interviewed him before he was the president.
Yeah.
So I could put him down as a president that I've interviewed.
Yeah.
It was at the golf course at the Celebrity Golf Tournament in Tahoe a few years ago when he was still doing Celebrity Apprentice. So it's about the only reason you have to send the White House questions before you interview a president is because they want to know basically what you're going to ask.
I think that went out the window with Obama, though. When he had the gal that was in the Cheerios in the bathtub interview him, I do
Yeah, you
not.
lose all credibility.
I doubt that he
Well, yeah,
had
because
her submit
he was
questions.
interviewing all these YouTube celebrities, and
No, they were interviewing him.
well, that's my point. He was being interviewed by YouTube
Right.
celebrities who had a ton of followers, and it was a smart strategy, except it didn't work because Hillary Clinton lost.
But what
So
no, I'm saying is that I seriously doubt that
No, they didn't
questions
have
were.
No, they had to have some questions too, Robin. Trust me. Having interviewed 5 presidents, it doesn't matter who the president is. When you sit down, the White House insists that you have it doesn't have to be word for word. It has to be.
I'm telling you,
Okay, Robin, you know how many presidents have you interviewed?
I'm saying that prior to, absolutely 100%. But I can pretty much guarantee you that the Obama era created a situation where
with
that
all
is
due
now
respect,
no
I would
longer there.
seriously say that I would bet any amount of money that you're wrong. I would bet any amount of money.
Did you listen to the interview?
Well, when you're interviewing nitwits whose claim to fame is sitting in a bathtub, it doesn't matter. The only reason those interviews were done, with all due respect, and I'm not a guy who likes to get political on the show, was because the president, knowing that he needed Hillary Clinton to win to continue his legacy, he went out and got, and it was smart. It was a brilliant strategy. Get all these people with, 5 million Twitter followers or Facebook followers who do stupid things on Twitter and get their fans to watch them, which they hope translates into votes. That's the way it works in politics. And remember, I'm a political science major, not just some strapper sports talk honk who's never even been in a courtroom, who's never been before Congress, who's never been in any kind of situation that involves understanding how government works.
Me.
There are people today who have zero knowledge of civics. They have no idea. All these clowns who are calling for the impeachment of the president, regardless of who he is, don't understand that you have to have grounds. A guy lying to somebody is not grounds for impeachment.
Because presidents have lied throughout history.
Exactly.
From the beginning
if lying
of
was
time.
grounds for impeachment, we wouldn't have had one president. So anyway, that's enough about that. Speaking of politics, though, I have breaking news from the high-speed Philadelphia District Attorney race update. Because yesterday I posted the question, what do people in Philadelphia care more about on Tuesday, May 16th?
Tacos.
No, Taco Tuesday.
That's very important.
The NBA draft lottery.
Which is hugely
or
important.
the Philadelphia District Attorney's race at the polls.
I didn't even know was happening.
And sadly, the reality of the world is when it's not a major election like president, people don't care about these local elections. I don't even know what the numbers were. So the guy who got the most money, here's a shocker. The guy who raised the most money won in a field of like 15 people running for a district attorney of Philadelphia. Larry Krasner.
Krasner.
No, that's a different group. That's Krasno and Krasno.
Oh, Krasno.
This is Larry Krasner, who was a criminal defense attorney for the last 30 years. Bested a field of 7 Tuesday with a progressive agenda that promised criminal justice reform, a moratorium on seeking the death penalty, and a crackdown on prosecuting police misconduct. In Philadelphia, where Democrats outnumber Republicans 7-1, Krasner had a good chance of winning so this is a runoff. He has a good chance of winning in November when he'll face a Republican who has zero chance in Beth Grossman.
Okay.
So there was a field of 11 Democrats. They chose one, and then he'll go up against the sacrificial lamb Democrat who haven't won an election in this city since I was 3 years old.
Let me get this straight. The district attorney is a man who actively wants or does not want to work closely and support the police department.
Based on, and that's not just me making an assumption. This is an actual story that says Larry Krasner, a day after becoming the Democratic candidate for district attorney, responded to a swell of criticism from the local police union, the Republican Party, which is just politics crap, and prosecutors about the prospect of longtime civil rights attorneys serving as the top law enforcement official. So basically, this guy says, hey, you know what? We're going to make sure nobody goes to jail anymore. And I don't want to overphrase this because, you know what? The only reason we're having a special election for a district attorney is because the current district attorney, who is still yet to resign, has been charged with like 50 felonies and has not given up his job.
It's a crazy world.
Can you
out there.
imagine anybody in any other world? I mentioned at the beginning of the show about the IRS not going after the guy who runs the pizza place, Mac and Manco's, or Mac and Mac's now, because Manco got bought out, is a cash-only business. Yet the guy's able to stay all summer and open up a new pizza place at the Jersey Shore and still conduct a cash business until he goes to jail at the end of the summer season.
Nothing to see here.
Can you imagine the inmates running the asylum?
That's exactly what's happening.
Exactly.
It's anarchy. Everything is about anarchy at this moment.
It's not about anarchy. Anarchy is when people actually go out and go crazy. This is the inmates running the asylum.
People are going crazy. By the way,
we have a Florida update. Speaking of anarchy,
no. Before the Florida, Paul Lee.
Paul who?
Paul Lee here on.
Is it Paul Lee or Paulie? Like
Lee.
Paulie from the Jersey Shore.
No, Paul. Space Lee.
Okay.
On Facebook says, Tony, don't you yell at Miss Robin. I'm going to send Pookie and the boys to visit you if you make her sad.
So you mean I'm sounding like LeVar Ball yelling at Christine Leahy on the show with Colin Cowherd? Did you see that? Did you guys hear that today?
No, I didn't.
So LeVar Ball, everybody knows who he is. He's the father of Lonzo Ball, who's going to be probably now with no doubt a lock to be the second pick in the NBA draft.
He's probably going to the Lakers, yeah.
Probably. Yeah. I would bet that the Showtime Rotisserie Grill, the remaining quality roast beast that we broke in it, and everything I own, which is not very much, LeVar Ball is pretty much a stone-cold guaranteed lock to the Lakers. There's no bigger lock in sports than that happening. His dad pretty much proclaimed it now that the Lakers have the number 2 pick, because the Celtics, people think they're going to trade. They may trade, but Danny Ainge is probably still going to take the best player in the draft, Markelle Fultz. Even though he's a point guard and he's supposed to be the best player available, the Boston Celtics will take him and maybe trade him, but they have to take him first.
Yeah.
So Ball goes number 2. And LeVar Ball's dad is the classic example of not since Todd Marinovich's dad. Now, I'm gonna explain myself, because Marv Marinovich, who was Todd Marinovich, the quarterback at USC's dad, played at USC. He wasn't a good player. He later became a strength and conditioning coach, and the guy was a damn good trainer. So he's the one who told his son, Todd Marinovich, that he was going to make him the perfect quarterback. So unlike LeVar Ball, Lonzo Ball is a great player.
Right.
Obviously, he has good genes. His dad wasn't a great player. It's just like Joe Bryant. Joe Bryant, the dad, was a good NBA player. His son
Kobe's one of the all-time.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's like Stephen Curry's dad. Steph Curry's dad.
Right, Del Curry was
a really good NBA player. His son is unbelievably good, and an obviously lock Hall of Famer of the future. So it happens a lot. Your dad, good athlete, your son becomes a better athlete. A lot of times the dad's a good athlete, the son's not. Michael Jordan's kids never really became NBA stars.
Oh, there's still time.
I know that, but I'm saying not every kid who's a superstar, not every dad who's a superstar has offspring that becomes superstars.
Well, I got to break in, though, because, I mean, there is one player who's upped his chances in the lottery of one of his kids becoming that good, and that's Rogers Cromartie, who just had another kid.
14, number 14. And he had a vasectomy.
That's incredible. He's going after Holyfield, Tony. He's going after the title.
He had a vasectomy before?
Antonio Cromartie of the New York Jets. Well, he's out of football now, right? I don't think he's in the league.
Yeah.
He's had 14 kids now, and he just had his 14th after.
But it's like 10 different women, Robin.
He's received.
I knew that.
He got a vasectomy, and
Prior
still
to?
had another kid. Yes. I think he's pumped out 2 since the vasectomy.
That is one very virile man. Damn.
Doesn't he have a lawsuit against his surgeon or whoever his urologist is?
No, they do. I've actually looked
what the hell, bro? Seriously.
I have looked this up. It is not a 100%
No, it's
guarantee.
not 100%.
Proven by Mr. Cromartie. It's definitely not 100%.
No, it's not 100% proven, but...
But, I mean, it's really high. But it's not 100% that a vasectomy works.
But let me get back to LeVar Ball.
Tube ties are 100%.
So LeVar Ball is pimping his son. Marv Marinovich, who was Todd Marinovich's dad, basically decided that he was going to become the robo quarterback. Todd Marinovich played at USC.
Hang on a second. I looked it up. This is his third child since having a vasectomy.
I knew at least 2. I didn't know it was his third.
Since the vasectomy.
So then wouldn't you, after the first time you had your tubes tied and
do it
pump
again?
out a baby, not try a second and third time and pump out 3 kids since having a vasectomy? But that's another story. Let me get back to the story that I'm talking about. So Todd Marinovich was the 24th pick in the draft by the Los Angeles Oakland Raiders at the time. I think they were the LA Raiders. he didn't want to be a quarterback, okay? His dad was a quarterback. He wasn't a success. Todd Marinovich was a good athlete. His dad was an unbelievable trainer. So his dad decided at an early age that his son was going to be robo-quarterback, that he was going to do everything in his power to turn his kid into a great NFL player. But what happened is Todd Marinovich gets drafted, goes to USC, gets drafted in the NFL, and becomes a bust. You know why? Because he didn't want to be an NFL quarterback. His dad insisted that he be a great quarterback. So what did he do? He revolted. He turned to drugs, alcohol, and it cost him his career. The difference with LaVar Ball is that I don't believe he forced his son to play basketball. His son wanted to play basketball, is a great young basketball player, and has the skills to be the second pick in the draft. What LaVar Ball is doing is he's doing is unnecessary. If your son is that good and he's going to be the second pick in the draft, you don't need to be going on talk shows. And again, he can do whatever he wants. It's America. But the fact is these people put him on the air, and he pimps sneakers, and he pimps his kid, and his poor kid's the one who has to go out there and play the game and deal with his dad being a jackass. So Ball goes on Colin Cowherd's show on Fox Sports Radio and Television, Fox Sports 1 TV, Fox Sports. And he starts ripping into his female, not technically a co-host, but she's on the show with him, Christine Leahy. Ball says that he basically told her to stay in your lane when she said that she wasn't interested in buying his shoes. He basically ignores her, disrespects her, and then proceeds to tell her that he doesn't want to hear her. Don't look at me, because she's back. Now, she's in the back of the studio where you can't see. He can't see her. LaVar Ball is facing Colin Cowherd. Behind LaVar Ball is Kristen Leahy up in the back of the room in the studio in Los Angeles. He pretty much dresses her down, tells her to stay in her lane, and says that she says that if you want people to buy your shoes, she says, I have no interest in buying your stuff. He says, well, I'm not selling it to you. I'm paraphrasing now. You go look on the tape. And then here's the best part. So Ball then comes out and says, my son's going number 2 to the Lakers. And by the way, for all you people who didn't want to give me $1 billion for my crappy, overpriced $500 pair of crappy sneakers, it's now up to $3 billion. You had a chance to give me $1 billion to get my son's sponsorship. He went to all the Nike, Adidas, the typical. Now it's $3 billion. Now, the guy's a nutcase, so I get it. I don't care. He wants to pimp his dad, pimp his son. His son doesn't need a pimp. But here's the problem. So then this guy goes on and makes a jackass of himself, is clearly a sexist pig, a no-good piece of shit human being, and he's got assholes all over Twitter defending him for blatantly, all you got to do is listen to the tape to see that this guy is a sexist pig. If this were anybody else, he would be destroyed all over Twitter. But you got jerk-off guys playing the race card who are making this a race thing because a white chick had the balls to tell this guy she doesn't want to buy his crappy shoes that I wouldn't pay 5 cents for. If Stephen Barry's were still in business, I wouldn't pay $1 for these shoes. But this jerk-off, LaVar Ball, can go on radio shows where they give him the time of day, which I would never put him on the show. And I'm glad the 76ers aren't going to draft this guy.
They better not.
I hope they don't.
They better not.
Because you know what? There's only one thing. Putting pressure on a kid to play at a high level is bad enough. Then adding pressure on your kid, like LaVar Ball does, by pimping his son like an absolute pimp on the street. Pimps on the street have more credibility than LaVar Ball. This guy is an absolute asshole douchebag. And a piece of shit sexist who should never be allowed. I would never put him on any radio show. But you know what? All these idiots in L.A. are putting him on their radio shows because they know he's going to say something stupid.
It's ratings spike. That's what it is.
And again, he has the right to do it. And these stations have the right. I'm not denying him his right to be an asshole. I'm just saying that if you want to be an asshole, LaVar Ball, guess what? You're going to be subject to being ridiculed just like any other asshole. You got it, brother? You're a piece of shit. A piece of certified shit.
I am pissed off.
God, and people defend this crap. People defend this piece of shit.
It's a joke, Tom.
He is a joke.
On that note,
let's go to our Florida
no,
update.
Well,
we got to get the Florida update.
We'll do the Florida update, and then we'll sign off.
I don't get that angry about anybody. But when I see people just going crazy about every little thing in this world and then conveniently disregard this guy as an absolute piece of garbage. That just shows you how screwed up this world is. When a guy could say something, if this were anybody else, they would be crucified for treating a woman the way he treated him. You would hear the misogynist, sexist. This guy,
It's
free
absolutely
pass,
true. I know.
right?
It's crazy.
Anybody else does this, they're a misogynist. They're a sexist. They should never be allowed to breathe air again. But this piece of garbage can just throw his crap out there and have idiots on Twitter defending this guy simply over race. That's what this is. This is another example of a black dude getting a free pass by the black community. And listen, I'm as fair as you can be. This guy's getting a free pass by a lot of people on Twitter who are basically giving him an absolute free pass to disrespect white people because that's cool. Yeah. And that's a joke. I'm sorry, I don't disrespect anybody. But when you allow a guy to do that and get away with it and you have people defending it, you have no right. You have no right for those people who defend Lavar Ball to go out there and criticize anybody else. You can never drop the sexist card. You can never drop the racist card. You can never drop the misogynist card. You have revoked your cards. You are crapped out, just like at the crap table, just like at the blackjack table. You got no more cards. The dealer won. You lose, suckers. You lose big time.
Wow. Okay, can I just say that social media just blew up? Your Periscope, your Facebook, your
and this isn't a prepared statement.
No,
this is coming from the heart.
This is from the heart, and look at the hearts. Look at the hearts, just like going crazy, crazy,
I'm
crazy.
sick and tired of it. I'm sick and tired of double standards in this country. And I'll defend anyone of any race, color, creed, nationality when something wrong happens to them. But I will not defend someone who does the indefensible. Not even Luigi.
What the hell did I do to you, man?
I don't know. Something earlier tonight.
Nothing. I've done nothing to you, man. I've helped you carry sheetrock. I've done everything for you, man. I've done everything for you. Are you kidding me? His mom kisses me when I walk in.
I know.
She does.
You're like another son now.
That's it.
She is.
You're like the illegitimate son she never had.
I'm your bastard child.
You are. You have now joined ranks with the Tony Bruno golden child, as far as Mama Bruno is concerned.
Did I give him a certified piece of shit stamp of the
You
champ
did.
tonight?
Certified piece of shit.
You know, when you're certified, it doesn't get any better than that.
Well, speaking of people being certified, Tom.
Down to Florida.
Certifiable.
Welcome you to the Sunshine State.
Wow.
They're kicking back.
I didn't really want to get all upset.
I know,
We had
you
a
really
Showtime
went
Rotisserie.
off.
We had a great conversation with the great Rico Brogna,
which was a lot of fun.
Ladies and gentlemen.
What do you got, Robin?
Let's go to Miss Robin, where things are much quieter.
Now, normally I start off a segment by saying exactly where in Florida we are talking about, but in this particular case, I'm not going to say the city yet, and the reason why is because there are many. So, Twitter, you know how you do hashtags? Twitter can tell from whence those hashtags come from. And they do now because there's so many millions and billions of people that are participating in Twitter hashtagging every single day.
I remember when it used to be, they just used to be called the pound sign.
Pound sign, yeah.
No longer. No longer. So Twitter studied over 100,000 geotagged tweets.
Geotagged? Is that like Gio Gonzalez or
No.
Giovanni?
Well,
Bernardi?
I know a guy, my old neighbor, who used to tag Gio.
No.
Like, you know, I'm not kidding. He used to tag Gio.
Not the same thing. And they determined where certain hashtags, like things that talk about faith, things that talk about hope, charity, and other types of...
Like the process here in Philadelphia?
Yeah.
Trust the process. Is the process over yet, or is it still
and
going?
also the more devious hashtags, like the kind of things that talk about pride or laziness, angry, or lustfulness are coming from. And there is a certain city that I am sure that Tony is now going to be bound for very shortly that is the most lustful city in the United States, according to
Not
Twitter.
Las Vegas, which is Sin City?
No, you would think. The Sin City is hashtag conscious, the most greedful. They are the most greedy. They talk about money the most.
In Vegas?
Yes.
Yeah, well, why
in
do you
Vegas.
think people go there?
But the most...
Other than the sex and the women coming to your room.
Well, you would think, so you would
billboards
think that
roll
that
up
would
and down
kind of
the
go
strip.
hand in hand, like lustfulness would come for Vegas. No, no, no.
Vegas is the reason people go is they want to win money, and it's a great place. By the way, it's great restaurants, great shows, everything else too, but it's all about money.
But the Saints and Sinners report, the Sinners...
Isn't that like a swingers club?
I think it is.
Oh, okay.
I think it is. But in this particular case...
Saints and Spinners, Tony. Saints and
No,
Spinners.
I think the Saints and Sinners.
In this particular case, the most sinful city is not Las Vegas. No, no, no.
It's not?
No, it is not.
K&A?
It is
It's
Fort...
a world in its own, dude. What are we talking about?
It is Fort Walton Beach, Florida.
Oh, we were at Fort Walton Beach. We were there in Fort Walton Beach, yes.
Where the heck is it? Why don't I remember this? And why would I
Remember
do not
when we went in and we couldn't get a room and then we pulled into the hotel?
Was that the shittiest hotel ever? Was
yes.
that Fort Walton?
That was Fort Walton Beach, and it was spring break when we went there. What's the matter with you, Robin?
That was not Fort Walton Beach.
Yes, it was.
It was Sarasota.
No, it wasn't Sarasota.
Okay, I have to go back and find the photographs.
Fort Walton,
I
trust
actually
me.
took pictures of this particular hotel. So we thought we were down at spring break, and we had come down with WIP to go to the spring training, right? And afterwards, we decided we were going to take a couple extra days, and we were going to
Drive
explore.
down south, past Sarasota. Yeah.
We
exactly.
did not expect that there would be no room at the inn, so to speak.
We wanted to go down
And we
to
went-
all the way down to
Fort Myers.
Fort Myers, Florida, which is
Right.
a great place.
So we thought we're just gonna wing it. You just stop off at a motel. It doesn't have to be fancy. We're gonna
The
wing
hotel,
it.
by the way, that's not fair to the hotel. The problem was it was spring break and they had already rented all their places to these crazy kids who were getting drunk
Every
and
single quote unquote nice, and when I'm talking about nice, I'm even including like the Motel 6s. Everything that was sort of quote unquote legit was completely 100% booked, and the only availability was a hotel that I swear to God probably rented out by the hour.
All right, let's get back to the Florida update already in progress.
But that was Fort Walton. Well, that makes so much sense now.
That's the sexiest city, or
No. The most lustful.
Yeah, because everybody wants to get laid. You remember the cops? They were like checking to see if we were legitimately checking into the hotel. That's how worried they are about people going crazy spring break weekend down there.
So the most lustful city, and this is they talk about. So they talk about porn, sex. They talk about
Who is
friends with
they?
benefits.
Who are these people doing this?
The people that are geotagged in Fort Walton.
Have you geotagged anybody, Luigi?
So do you know what geotagging is,
Luigi,
Tony?
you were starting to fade out, man.
A
You
little
look
bit,
shy.
bro.
Tony, do you know what geotagging is?
No.
So if you
I tagged a chick named Gio once, though, but I mean, as a Gia, is that the same thing?
So what what that is if you are on your Twitter and you have your location search on, then it can tell where you are tweeting from.
Geographically, you
yes,
were tagged.
where, so you're geotagged. And so they talk about threesomes. They talk about
in Fort Walton?
Yes,
I got to get back down there when there's no spring break.
See?
Get all the damn
I
kids
told
out of there.
you.
Let me go
You
down
would
there
be-
and handle the adults, okay? That's all I want.
I told you would want to be going
As
down
long as you're
there
over
right
21
away.
and you're an adult. Punk college kids, sorry, I ain't got time for that.
I hear you.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
So
Even
long
Luigi.
story short, Fort Walton Beach is the most sinful city.
We got to go back, but not spring break. That's my recommendation. Luigi, have you been down there?
I've never been. I've been to Florida, but never there though.
We got to get you out more, son.
You do need to get me out. You need to get me out in the sun more. I'm dying over
You
here.
are. You're a white cracker, man.
I am
Now,
pasty
get
white.
this.
You are cracker.
I am like getting like Volvo's catalog a month.
I'm
That kind of
outside.
white.
I was out just working a little bit today. I got a little golden. Robin's
I was
going to go
out.
get a fake tan for the wedding like every chick has to do.
Well, because I don't
Which
tan.
should be criminal.
I was walking around a little bit. I was downtown.
Tony, I don't tan. That's
Why do women have to get tans to go to a wedding?
Because I
Everybody
don't.
knows they're all fake tans.
Right.
You live in a place where it's been raining for 3 weeks. Who the hell has a tan living in Philadelphia where the sun's been out one day in the last 2 weeks?
You know you lying.
Because
No, you lying.
Damn right.
Here's the problem.
No,
so,
you lying.
So let me tell you, I had the perfect dress pick out for me, but I was told that I could not wear that dress because it has white in it. Is
that racist?
It is a blue and white dress, and the bride Your niece doesn't want anybody else wearing anything
Well,
with
what, do you have a
white.
problem with the bride? It's the bride's rules. It's
Exactly.
her wedding.
So
Who are you to tell the bride what the hell you're going to wear?
I was... We were out, and I was told what dress I should wear, and that particular dress washes me out completely, and so now I need a tan. Voila.
I need a tan too, but I get mine the old-fashioned way, incidental contact.
Because
like I get sex.
Looks good on you, though.
Because
What was that? I'm sorry.
Tony,
It looks good on you, though.
Yeah, well, it does.
the reason is
I
that
have
you
that-
actually can tan.
I have
don't.
that great, what do you call it, skin?
Olive.
Olive skin.
Olive.
Sicilian.
I'm the whitest Italian guy on
You
the
are,
planet,
man.
dude.
You a cracker.
I am a cracker.
But you are still darker than me.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, I am.
Yes, you are. So I don't tan. I just get red.
I'm like chalk, yo.
Exactly right, man.
So there you have it.
So there you have it. I apologize for the rant tonight. My goal is not to come in here and get angry.
No.
Because you won't like me when I'm angry, like the Hulk.
Which is out there, by the way. There is on YouTube. Search for it. Tony Bruno Hulk. There, you will hear the transition. You were on the phone. This was back in the old into the 90s.
Dean.
Yes.
Yeah, it was with Dean from Clearwater.
It is Dean from Clearwater.
My craziest rant ever.
I remember that.
And
rant.
Dean's a friend. That's the
I
amazing
know.
thing.
I know. I met Dean.
Because
He's
I wouldn't do that to.
But you
just
can
any caller.
hear the transition. So Tony's completely normal, as like he was tonight. Tonight was another one of those Hulk moments. Tony was perfectly normal, calm. He was the doctor. What was the doctor's name?
Jekyll.
No,
Mr. Hyde.
No. In the Hulk.
Dr. David Banner or Bruce Banner.
So-
I always get those
So-
confused.
So Tony was Bruce Banner.
David Banner's Rubber Band Man. It's T.I., bro.
Tony was Bruce Banner, and then all of a sudden, you saw his shirt ripping, you saw the veins popping, he started to turn green, and all of his clothes fell off, and he turned into the Hulk. And therefore the rant.
By the way, can I officially thank the Boston Celtics for participating in this year's NBA Eastern Conference Finals?
Why? Is it over?
Wow. How many games will this series be? How many games?
Honest to God, true. And not just because we haven't played in a while.
Sweet, bro.
I don't know. LeBron might get lazy and give him one, to be honest with you.
LeBron is pretty much doing whatever he wants.
I can't see, and over out in the West before we ended up, I can't see San Antonio winning a game.
No, and especially down 2-9.
And Kawhi Leonard being out. I can't even see him winning a game. It's easy work out.
They may win a game because they're still a great team. And I know Kawhi Leonard's a huge loss. And I know people are crying that the Warriors have been beating teams that aren't at full strength like it's their fault. Now, other than the Kawhi Leonard incident, which could be attributed to the Zaza Pachulia hit or move or block out, whatever you want to call it.
When he was on the bench?
Yeah.
When he was sitting on the freaking bench, Tony?
The bottom line is the Warriors are good. Can we just fast forward to the NBA Finals?
Yeah, it's going to be a hell of a finals, though.
I agree. It's going to be great. And the problem is it's not, that you beat who's in front of you. When people talk about schedules, you play the teams that are on your schedule. If somebody's hurt, what are you going to do? And the Warriors, and there's no doubt, for the third consecutive year, the two best teams in the NBA are the same teams, Golden State Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers. And that's how far people have to come to get there. Although I agree with Joel Embiid.
What did he say?
If the Sixers can stay healthy and put these guys together and add another piece, it's not going to be that far away for a sad sack franchise like the Sixers to once again rise to the top of the NBA Eastern Conference.
Of course.
Celtics are good, but they don't have a lot of they're not exactly loaded.
No.
Yeah, they got a guy who was the 60th pick in the draft as their best player.
Isaiah
For all
Thomas.
you people obsessed with lottery picks, Isaiah Thomas was taken by the Sacramento Kings, went to the Phoenix Suns, and then wound up with the Boston Celtics, the 60th pick in the NBA draft.
He spent 3 years in Sacramento doing nothing.
And now he's an emerging superstar in the league.
He's a first-team NBA point guard. Absolutely.
And the guy's 28 years old. He's not a guy who just came into the league.
No, he's been around a little bit.
But the point is, that's why all this obsession with you got to get a top 3 pick. Isaiah Thomas, 60th pick, second round NBA
again,
All-Star.
Tony, the rest of it's he's an exception to the rule.
No doubt about it.
It's a rarity. You know
no
what I
doubt
mean?
about
Guys
it.
like him
But
don't
there
just
are
fall-
more guys like Isaiah. Just look at the San Antonio Spurs roster, other than the top 3 guys that they've had in the last 20-something years.
Excuse me.
They're not getting lottery picks to rebuild that thing and keep that thing on the tracks.
No, they're drafting well. They're bringing in free agents.
Exactly.
They're getting guys.
And they're drafting guys at 20, 25, 30, 35 who come in and contribute. That's called great organizations. That's why the Brooklyn
great
Nets
coaching.
stink. But also you got to have GMs who make the right picks. Because, Pop doesn't draft all the players. He takes the players and he deals with what he has. And he's a great coach. But the problem is there's too many. It's a crapshoot. You don't know whether the 60th pick in the draft is going to be better than the first. One thing we know for sure, the 60th pick in that draft that San Antonio Spurs took, the Sacramento Kings took in Isaiah Thomas, is better than the first pick in the draft that the best team in the East, the Cleveland Cavaliers, took just 3 years ago.
Yeah, with Anthony Bennett.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's it. That's pretty much it for tonight. I'm shot now.
We went a little over, but Tony, we had a. This was like making TV history here. Well, podcast history. We cooked the roast beef live on air, man.
Foodie chats. We did everything tonight.
I know. We talked about sex, food, and sports. What more can you want?
That's what it's all about. And then maybe a dash of politics. Just a splash. Just a little sprinkle, like the guy with the salt. Who's the Salt Bay guy?
Yeah, that guy.
What's he called?
I don't know.
You know the guy who does the thing
He
with
has
the
a
salt?
tomahawk steak, and at the end, he's slicing
It's like
the
one of the biggest memes for the last 3 months,
He goes
Robert.
like this.
And then he sprinkles salt on the end.
How did I? Oh, yes.
And they put people's heads on him to be different people.
I don't know who he is.
That's LeBron sprinkling salt on the Boston Celtics.
It's exactly what it is, man.
In the meantime, that's pretty much it, okay?
Okay, Bobby.
All right, baby.
That's great.
Don't forget to contact me if you want a Ting. If you want to switch to Ting, if you're out of contract, contact me for a free $9 Ting card so that you can swing.
And don't forget to
over.
follow us on Twitter, at Tony Bruno Show, at Miss Robin Austin, at Luigi Curto, Curto 22, and of course, the great Forza Corrado. Even though he's not here, we still give him immense love each and every moment.
Maybe, not me. I'm pissed at him.
You pissed at Joe?
I am.
Why?
Because he was not here.
It's not his obligation to be here.
He talked about the whole food thing. He was the one insisting that we do the whole rotisserie
We did it.
grill.
We did our obligation. In the meantime, don't drink and drive out there. Don't text and drive. And God bless America, ladies and gentlemen, because after all, it still is a beautiful country. We'll see you next week here on the podcast.
Thanks for listening to The Tony Bruno Show.
We hope you'll make this a weekly visit. Come back soon.